Okay, we're live, everybody. Hi, thank you for joining Royce in the house and my special guest, musical talent, Lou Mars, who's got a bunch of great stories to tell. So anyway, I want to say hi to Linda and hi to Laurel and hi to Robert, and we're going to get this going. And okay, hold on. Excuse me for 1 second.
Hold the fort.
Huh? No, we're on. Well, I don't. We're on. We're on. Hey, Linda, can you hear me? Okay.
I thought that was the donuts.
Yeah, everybody. Hi, Maria. Let me say hi to Maria here.
You get a donut.
Okay. Well, anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. Royce here. Royce in the house. Your vinyl junkie that's not doing so much vinyl anymore, but we're trying to have more fun. And this is my special guest, Lou Mars, fantastic musician. He's got a lot of stories to tell, and I'm really grateful to him for coming on tonight. We're going to have a great time. And let's see, Robbie Detroit's also supposed to join us, but I don't see him. So I just want to ask, is everybody ready to get going here? Ready.
Ready.
We're ready. Okay. Okay, that's my wonderful intro. Now I'll turn back to the chat here. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about all these fantastic nightclubs, that are on the Sunset Strip. And boy, do I feel like I missed out on a lot of fun because I've been to the Rainbow. Okay, I've been to the Rainbow for dinner and heard a lot of the stories, but that was the only one I've driven up and down the Sunset Strip. I'll never forget. We were down in the Hollywood area, down the Sunset, and I looked over and there's Guitar Center. Well, I can't see a Guitar Center and not want to go in and screw around. And this was years ago. So I go into the Guitar Center and I walk in. There's a bunch of people standing in front of this wall of guitars, and I liken that scene to, this is the way I told a story for years, the bar scene in the first Star Wars. I mean, between the hair and the piercings, you couldn't even see the guys, Right. and I kept hearing stories. That people were guys were showing up from Japan, businessmen, and they both wore impeccable suits, and one of them had a briefcase under his arm. And they always came in pairs, and they were buying all the American vintage guitars. And so after screwing around in there for a while, I turned around and lo and behold, just like I was told, there's a couple of Japanese guys impeccably dressed, wearing suits, one with the briefcase underneath his arm, and they're staring at the back wall where there was a sign above the door that said "Vintage Guitars." And they looked at each other and headed for that door. I thought, wow, this is all true. Okay, so let's see. We've got more people in the chat. We have Robert Rowe, and let's see. I just saw you guys are chatting it up and disappearing quickly. So anyway, hi Robert. Thank you very much. Oh, Dana. Hi Dana. How you doing, Dana? So here we are. We're getting going here. Okay, so I want to read just a brief history of the Sunset Strip's most iconic clubs. The world-renowned 1.5-mile stretch of Sunset Boulevard, known as the Sunset Strip, has dazzled movie stars, locals, and tourists alike for decades. Well, the Strip has, now somewhat tamed. That's sad. It's tamed, laden with fine dining restaurants, couture shopping, fancy hotels. It was once so much more thrilling. The culture trip looks back on the glory days when these 10 glimmering nightclubs and infamous music venues had the sunset blazing. And now my guest here, co-host or host, Lou Mars. Now, you played at a couple of those clubs, didn't you, Lou?
I did, yeah. And what's really interesting about it is I did it 10 years apart.
So okay.
I got to experience the Sunset Strip at age 17.
You're kidding me. Oh, my God.
I was 17 when I went up there the first time to play. The second time, I was, I thought it was 10 years, but it actually was more than that. The next time, so the first time was the Roxy.
Oh, the Roxy, yeah.
Time, yeah,
right.
Which was at that time, that was one of the main places. The Roxy was on fire.
Gotcha.
The whole strip, like you just said. That was like
Right.
81, 82, just, you know, the early.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
And I was back in the 90s, and it was on fire
Wow.
again. Early 90s, the best part. Late 80s, early 90s, I was there.
Oh,
I played
wow.
again, but that was at the Whiskey.
Well, that was a lot of metal and stuff going on there, glam metal, and I mean,
yeah. Well, they had this new thing called New Wave.
oh, New Wave.
Oh, the
my
early
God.
80s. So when the first time I was there, I was in a group with a New Wave.
Oh, I see.
But we were too early. That's a big thing with music. You got timing's everything. We were too early.
Timing is everything. You can't show up when grunge is the big thing and start doing glam metal.
Right. So the good news was we were early. The bad news was we were early. we had. I remember sitting out there looking across the street and to my left and to my right, and I kid you not, it was Ramones, Cooper, Ozzy Osbourne playing on the same block. No.
Wow.
Same week, and I'm like, who's going to come to see us? And I was like, I wanted to go and see them. I'm like, hey, I'm going to leave the gig. You got Alice next door, you know?
Oh, yeah. Crazy.
That's the names that were playing back then, though. You know, they were, you would have those guys would play on the strip back then. You know that. You were on a GNR shirt. They did it in the 80s. They were already big, but they'd still play the Rainbow.
They still played.
Yeah. And the Whiskey.
Yeah. And that's how a lot of those clubs were. You'd have like some club bands and all kinds of, rock stars. I mean, people that had made and stuff, but we just want to walk in and sit in just for fun, And
yes,
I'm aware of a bunch of that stuff, through people that I know and stuff like that. But that would have been a great time, I mean, we had some venues. We had some venues by a group that used to play at the Cath Club that were doing some venues out on Rava Winery. And all kinds of people would show up. Sebastian Bach from Skid Row would show up. Original drummer from Guns N' Roses, Steven Adler, would show up.
Yep.
Ryan Roxy was there playing. Eric Singer was there drumming. Slim Jim Phantom, who owned the Cath Club, was there playing. Tommy Plafitas, the drummer for Ozzy and Black Sabbath, was there playing. I mean, the group of people that would just show up because they just wanted to play with their friends.
Well,
amazing.
That was part of the scene. It wasn't just, that was what was interesting. It was a musician time. I mean, the boys, even from the Bay Area, Neil Sean would come in there, and Steve Perry and Sammy from Montrose, at the time, they would pop in down there. It was just,
wow. Yeah.
You would look out at the crowd. Yeah. And it was a tough area to play because you had to be on the best of your game. You didn't get the gig unless you were badass already. And then you would sit there. For me, we would play late because we were a fairly known band to get up there. We were traveling.
Right.
We'd watch the worst thing you could do is watch the bands because you watch the first one, like, oh my God, that was fantastic.
Right.
Like, oh my God, they were better.
Right.
Leave. I got to go out there.
I can't imagine what that would be like, to have, have people with such talent, and you're in the middle of that. And of course, you've been a really talented musician. You're first. Well, let me bring up the first Sunset Strip club. Okay.
What was it?
Oh yeah, this is called Cafe La Bohemi, and it became popular nightclub destination during Prohibition in the 1920s, and its location outside of the LAPD jurisdiction, but accessible to LA city locals. Made it easy to be speakeasy. It was a speakeasy and to operate. One such speakeasy, Cafe La Bohemi, I guess there were several of them that were doing the same thing, was owned by a retired opera singer, Joe Borgia. He featured a dance floor, live music upstairs, illegal gambling hall downstairs. But anyway, the club was shut down for a short period in 1932, reopened with the Vaudeville Cross-Dressing Act, Creole Fashion Plate, before it was raided and permanently closed in 1934. So anyway, I thought that was kind of a cool story. And I'll go through the next one too. And it was a Cafe Trocadero, and it was a French-themed cafe. But the interesting thing about Cafe Trocadero, it was frequented by gangsters. Bugsy Siegel hung out there. Mickey Cohen, Johnny Roselli, and Tony Camaro, and other gangsters. They actually hung out here, but as well as a lot of Hollywood celebrities. I mean, it was an illustrious club in LA history. It served as a premier watering hole for the LA industry elites from 34 to 47. So we're going back in time a little bit. It was renovated in French style decor. The upscale club saw countless stars: Fred Astaire, Bing Crosby, all my mother's favorites, Cary Grant, Nat King Cole, Lucille Ball would walk through its doors. Wilkerson maintained Borgia's illegal gambling hall downstairs, often playing with a circle of movie moguls that included the acclaimed film producer Samuel Goldwyn, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MGM's Irving Thalberg, and Universal Studios' Carl Lamy. Further, because Trocadero was the Hollywood Reporter shared an owner, LA's most beautiful rising and wannabe stars flocked to the club in an attempt to be photographed and written about in Hollywood's gossip columns. With the list of patrons and roaring jazz, Trocadero, yeah, we're in a Tascadero, so it's always confusing, was truly a glamorous venue where the old Hollywood guard reveled in its decadence. So there was gambling, there was, gangsters hanging out there. I mean, that's a cool old story. So now, Lou, do you live in a Tascadero or?
No, well, I'm currently, as you can see in my environment, I'm van lifing it.
Van lifing it, right on.
I'm currently I'm broadcasting from San Diego today.
You are? Okay.
Yes, I'm in San Diego.
Oh, that's wild.
Just left Santa Barbara the day before. Was in your area a couple days ago on the beach at, what's that? Starts with a P. I forgot the name. Pismo Beach. I don't forget. Too much travel.
Yeah, for sure.
Last beach you can drive on, I think.
Right.
Which is cool.
Are you? No, that's right. Yeah, it's actually Oceano Grover Beach, but for some reason they call it the Pismo Dunes.
Yeah, that's. I noticed that.
I don't really quite understand that.
I haven't dug into that either. But to answer your question, I was living in Morro Bay.
Got you.
Up until
that's funny because I do a lot of work in Morro Bay. It's one of my, I'd say 50% of my work the last couple of years has been in Morro Bay. And I would swear I saw you in that Albertsons restaurant in Morro Bay one day. And I know we kind of looked at each other because we've been friends on Instagram and friends on Facebook. And I think we recognized one another because we kind of both did kind of a double take, I don't know if you remember that. It's been a while.
I get that, I get that in Morro Bay. The quick story about Morro Bay that I love is in 2017, I did a big thing, I don't know if you're aware of, in Portugal. So
no.
Yeah, it was a world record, second one. I do this world record with the top 5 drummers in the world. We're all playing at the same time. Only 5 drummers in the world have ever played over 100 hours consecutive. All 5 get together at the same time. I'm one of them.
Wow.
I'm American.
Okay.
To break a team record, right?
Oh, wow.
Long story short, that's not what I want to talk about. The funny part's Morro Bay, because here I am in Portugal. They're driving me around in limo. I meet their government. I'm on talk shows. I go to Canada on the layover. I'm seeing myself on TV. So I'm sitting in the airport. I get to my hometown coffee shop. My coffee's done. Luke, you get my name right.
Luke.
Way to humble me. Morro Bay. I'm a champion on the
funny.
We don't know who you are here, buddy. My home.
Right.
No, that's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love that place, Morro Bay. The people.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
Like you, Tascadero too.
Yeah.
Great place.
Well, when we moved up here, we started in Los Osos, actually Baywood Park, and we lived there for 4.5 years. And it was a really bad, that last winter was so bad. It was like, it's winter time and it's dark and gray and cold. And our kids my wife would drive Mo to a Tascadero and take him to the park. And her mother lived here on a Tascadero. And finally we sold the house and moved over here and bought a couple acres up in the West Hills. So it's fun. We have a microclimate here. We get some coastal influence. A breeze blows through from Cayucas every afternoon. And they claim that it stays 10 degrees cooler in the summer and 10 degrees warmer in the winter. We don't get as much freezing and stuff. So we've enjoyed it up here, but we may be moving here in the next couple of years. Just downside and make life a little easier.
Yeah, California is just in an interesting place as a whole right now. I've been traveling
Right.
across America nonstop for the last 2 years, all the way across and back 4 times.
Oh, have you? I've seen some
Yeah.
things. Have you been? What was the last like band you were playing in?
My own my own name.
Okay.
The last
Yeah.
big one I did was before that, Motown guy, Moody Scott, who's from
Okay.
Motown. I was his
Yeah.
drummer in his documentary in Vegas for all of that. That was
Okay.
in 2008, 2009.
Right.
Maybe,
Right.
yeah, no, 2009, right before my 2010 thing. I was his drummer for that, which, man, he was a tough guy to play for, but
Oh,
great
okay.
experience. Yeah.
Are you familiar with the jazz festival they do every year in Vegas that lasts a few days?
Yes.
Michael
Man,
Shiva.
I was raised on jazz, so I'm a huge jazz fan. That's what I started in, was jazz.
Well, Michael's a friend of mine, and he's getting older. He's older than I am. I've got a copy of his book, and I mean, there's pictures in the book of him sitting at a table with John Lennon, and it's really like a who's who of entertainers. He used to do a lot of producing and managing, and he'd be really good to get on. You know, he still does that blues festival every year in Vegas. I think it lasts 3 days every year in Las Vegas. He brings in like not blues, I'm sorry, jazz, but he brings in kind of who's who of jazz, and it's like everybody shows up, you know. And I've been trying to get him on, and I had to keep working on him, you know.
Well, what's cool about working with Moody in Vegas was that, I don't know if you know this, but remember the band Slaughter, Chris Slaughter? Fly to the Angels. That really
no, not Mark Slaughter.
Mark Slaughter, that's it, Mark.
Yeah, I've got an autographed album from him.
Oh, no way. He's an awesome dude, one.
Yeah,
Two,
yeah.
Their practice room is in Vegas.
No, he grew up in Vegas. In fact, he used to go to keg parties the same place I did out in the desert.
He loves his room.
His best friend, Pat Lucero, he sells albums online. The Wizard's Lair with 2 E's. The Wizard's Lair.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's Mark Slaughter's best friend, and right now, you know, Pat's good friend Jason Herndon's got a boutique record producing company, and they're making Slaughter's latest box set, and they autographed something like 750 covers. The 3 remaining, you know, people.
He's a great
Slaughter.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a picture of his bathroom. I know that sounds weird. Because he's got a Marshall half stack in it.
Yeah.
Right by the toilet. There's a Marshall half stack, and it's got the stencil Slaughter on it.
Well, you know, I wanted to do some shout outs, and we got right into the show, but you know, Robbie Detroit will be coming on, and Caitlin Stodder's already on. Caitlin's got a show called Caitlin's Corner, and then we've got Dan McNew, Just the Facts. He has a Facebook show, Just the Facts, and I met some new people. Rachel Music Ma'am, M-A-M, not Music Man, but Music Ma'am. She does like 2 2-hour shows per day. I mean, I've never seen anything like it in my life. Then I wanted to mention Mike Usenek, the Pink Sock podcast, and Mike's a real comedian. He's funny as hell. But then I also want to mention my good friend Michael McVeigh, and he's a rock vocalist. Blackbird Rain. I heard the 5th or 6th album they made. He opened up for all kinds of people in a different band. I mean, big acts, you know. And I heard an album not an album, but a song recently. It's going on their new album, and I tell you what, it's really really good stuff. I mean, it's top of the line, and they're actually recording tonight. You know, I saw pictures of them earlier in the studio on Facebook, and he told me he was recording. I tried to invite him on tonight, but they're working on their album. You know, he's got to get that done. But I'm really looking forward to it. Michael McVeigh, Blackbird Rain. It's going to be a good album.
Right on.
And of course, I was talking about the guy that's making Slaughter's, you know, box set right now, and that's Jason Herndon. And him and Pat Lucero, Mark Slaughter's best friend, they collaborate on it a little bit. You know, Pat Lucero, I'm sorry, and his wife and daughter were all at the album cover signing, you know, and helping get all the albums signed and stuff like that. And so they're taking reservations right now for, I think it's a 4-album set with books and autographed covers and all this stuff. And it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. And then let's see, Michael Noland has got a show called The Bottom Line. He's been stopping in. And anyway, so that's Mikey UPS. I got to mention you, Mikey UPS. He was a co-host with me, and he's kind of off doing his own thing right now. So he's got a show called Mikey UPS, and Mikey is very, very funny. You know, he's going to do well. He's really a funny guy. Yeah, you can't help but laugh when he starts talking. He's quite a character. So I'm done with my shout outs. Let's go back.
Oh, that's awesome. I've learned something new about those guys.
And of course, we've got Lou Mars here. now, you don't have an actual show right now. I think you said.
No, it's record. I'm working. What's coming out? My latest project. First off, there's a few things you get for since we're doing the shout outs. Lou Mars Band was my band for years.
Okay.
And I would move around. I would change the lineup, the back line every year. I got that idea from Bowie. So you never saw the same band. And moreover,
I see.
Sometimes I'd be up front on guitar, double neck bass guitar, or drums in the back or side left. So
yeah,
that varied. But I have a book coming out in August. It's called Beat Alive.
Yeah, I saw you sent me a picture about. Yeah. So this is a book about your life, and
it's a memoir about the 2 world records, the reality TV show I was on, just basically what you love to do, follow music, and what it's like, what's really
okay.
like.
Well, Lou, let's don't run past that. 2 world records. Tell us about 2 world records.
Yeah, the first one, I played for 5 days straight for 108.5 hours.
That was on the drums, a drum set?
That was a drum set with 30-second breaks nonstop. The difference, the reason I made news was because I played it like a sprint. I was doing Metallica on day 4, and no one had ever done that. So I was on all the rags around the world. The world was watching. I was also the first drummer to ever stream it live. So people around the clock were watching. And it was amazing seeing the Japanese, for example, come in at 3 a.m. and you'd see all this, they're writing. Awesome. And I'm sitting there barely awake. But yeah, that was the first one. And that one, at first, it wasn't a record. It fell short. 120 was the record. I did 108. But even at that time, I was only the third drummer to ever play over 100 hours. An Australian made 101.
Really?
However, yes, that record ended up getting canceled because the guy got caught cheating. So,
no kidding.
Yeah, so you can't do drugs, you can't, and he was off, he'd fudging his logs. So
right.
The second one was in Portugal with the other drummers who had all done 100 hours only. You had to, in order to be in this club, you had to be one of the 5 drummers that played over 100 consecutive hours, and I'm one of them. And
wow, that's I can't even imagine. I couldn't stay awake that many hours, much less play drums.
Can you imagine? Yeah, I mean, just think jumping rope even nonstop.
Oh no, yeah.
The song has to start, within 60 seconds of the next song, and the drums have to start within 30 seconds of the song. So you can't put on Stairway to Heaven and just sit there. You can't, and you have to play it to a recognizable form. So you got to backtrack on. You can't play any song more than twice within 6 hours. So you've got to really have your list, a really deep list.
Lou, I want you to know, I don't know if you can see the chat, but several people are saying they can't wait to buy your book.
Oh, well, if they want a preview, the preview's free at loumarsbooks.com. And
okay, cool.
I'm gonna let you guys know to subscribe. It's $2.95 to hear the podcast where I talk about the chapters, and you get the rest of the chapters. If any of your people would like to, because they're watching right now, they send me a link after the show. I'll give them a VIP free pass to let them see the chapters without charge. So, yes, they can send you the request the link from you direct, or they can send it to me at loumarsmusic@gmail.com. And then I'll just for your crowd for showing up tonight.
Okay. Hey, Lou, I want to say to you that now I've seen you playing guitar and a bunch of other things. Do you consider yourself primarily a drummer, or?
Ooh, that's a good. Yeah. Well, I love that. Multi-instrumentalist is the term. However, my ace and my first love and what comes natural to me is the drumming. When I play the drums, it's a magic experience for me. I'm on guitar because I write music and I produce other people's. Yeah, so you need an instrument. And I play piano too.
Right.
But the drums, you know, I mean, I can just, you know, I mean, I don't even think, and I'm just playing, and it's just magic for me. Always has been. So I love it.
You know, you would have enjoyed if Scott Harris could have made it tonight. Scott Harris is a drummer, and he goes all the way back to New York. He's still in New York. In fact, he lives in Woodstock, New York.
Oh, nice.
him and his wife was from Woodstock. He lives in Woodstock, but he's just finished up his third album in a set. He's got this. He's on Instagram. You've probably seen it. Horror House, Haus, Horror House Official. And
I will look for it. His name, I know his name, but I've not. I don't recall his Instagram.
Yeah, Scott Rockin, Scott Harris, Horror HOROR, I think HAUS, Horror House Official. He's all over Instagram. You'll find it if you look for him. But he's a drummer, and he just went over somewhere to the high desert and finished laying some drum tracks down for his third album in this series he's doing. And yeah, he played in New York. He was in a band with Ryan Roxy before Ryan took off and came to California. And they were being offered a contract, you know, by a studio. But Ryan said, "I can't do this. I have to start making money." And he took off and went to LA and started playing in bands and making money and wound up with Alice Cooper, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing about that. What's interesting about that for me was the opposite. I found I got my butt kicked in LA. And this is a good thing to say to people out there because it doesn't always work that way. You go.
No, I know.
You're told to go against where everybody's at. But
right.
For me, it was the opposite. I went there. I learned a lot because you got to have your act together, right? We talked about.
I can imagine just the level of talent and.
But you can also be really badass in another pond. Now you don't want to be the big fish in a little pond. You know, we saw that with Boston. Did that in Boston? Yeah. We saw Nirvana do that up in Seattle.
Right.
Yeah, there are ways you can conquer other cities. Don't. So people out there, you musicians out there, if you're going down to LA getting your butt kicked like I did, I've won awards. I'm a real record drummer. I got my butt kicked in LA. All right, so don't lose faith, man. It's okay. It's okay.
Right.
Another town.
Well, you were also telling me about a reality show, Drum Your Way to Hollywood or something like that.
So that's funny you mentioned it because I just said I lost all the time. That was the one time I won there. That was in Hollywood. So maybe my words. I won that one. Yeah, that was years later. Everybody said I was washed up. I was done. This is 2008, not that long ago. And at the time I'm married, my wife comes in with this little piece of paper. She says, "You know what? They got this contest." And I used to compete on drums all the time. I had it in like 6 years. I stopped. I got pissed off after a tour. That's it. I'm going to work like everybody else. Worst thing I did. Worst thing I ever did. I didn't know, what real work was. So, long story short, I jump into this contest with only 2 weeks playing. Do a drum solo, drum off. I get voted in by, these are the producers, Keith Moon's producers in there, Bobby Owinski from the Beatles, ZZ Top's guys there, Mike from Us Festivals there. So, I mean, these are badass producers, are the judges. So, I'm part of the mistake I make. I made flashcards of their names and who they were, so I would recognize them when I showed up, which also scared the hell out of me because then I recognized them when I showed up. I'm like, oh, shit. That's him. So that was kind of good and bad. But anyways, I showed up on that. I made it into the final 6. It was on Comcast pay-per-view, A&R channel. And it was a drum off. And at the very end, I ended up winning the whole thing. It was nuts. On Sunset Strip, by the way, it was at Westlake Studios Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
And we shot nonstop for days. The one opening scene of the show, I'm walking down Sunset Strip, took like 3 hours. Just to do 15 seconds to give you an idea what reality shows are really like. You come out of the toilet and there's a camera in your face. Nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a great experience. Biggest win, one of the biggest wins I've ever had. The biggest moment on the show was Keith Moon's producer. And what's his name? I'm so mad. I'm going to be mad. I would say it. God, he still wishes me happy birthday every year. But
does he?
He knights me on TV. Literally knights me because he goes, "You know who you remind me of?" And there's a pause. you remind me of Keith Moon. I'm like, oh, then the sword comes down on my shoulder at that moment. The guy who actually worked with Keith Moon just compares me to Keith Moon. You're like, that's a dream moment as a drummer,
Oh yeah.
Now on the show, they edit it. They edit me thanking him for saying that, and instead it comes off. I go, well, actually, I thought it was more like Gene Krupa because I just seen Gene Krupa, but they cut out that I said I thanked him first for saying that. So it looks like I ignored it and said, no, I'm more like Gene Krupa. edits, people. If you saw that, I'm sorry. I do appreciate it.
My LA or Hollywood claim to fame was we're working on a construction site and they're announcing on the radio there's going to be a video made for a major rock band, but they wouldn't tell you who it was. You had to go on faith and you had to rent a tuxedo and show up. So me and this buddy that was working for me rented tuxedos to show up at the Orpheum Theater. Orpheum, I can't remember, but we didn't know until we got into the lobby that it was Guns N' Roses was making the video for November Rain.
Nice.
Of course, that's about like a 8-minute song, but in between each take, Axl and Slash would sit on the stage and sign autographs.
Oh, cool.
Mostly body parts of girls, but whatever. And but what was funny was the whole thing. So doing 7 takes of that song November Rain took like 4 hours, with all these breaks. And so I was a big fan of Guns N' Roses even back then, but all 3 of my little girls were huge fans. In fact, I've got tapes of the twins at like 10, 11 years old singing Patience with scarves on their heads and stuff like that. So I really wanted my kids to see me in the video. So every time this camera came panning across the sky, and I'm the only idiot doing anything like this, I'd leap up on my seat and start playing air guitar. I thought, how can they not see me in the video? Well, all that wound up on the cutting room floor.
Oh, that should have been part of it. You're grandstanding. That's why they consider that grandstanding.
I know, exactly. They were like, look at this idiot.
That means you might have been too good. Like,
well, you never know,
Yeah, it was either really good or really bad. It's one way or the other on that one.
One way or the other. So in most of your bands, did you just strictly stick with the drums, or did you ever play the guitar in the bands? Or
well, way early on in the 90s, I was up front on guitar in bands, and like I said before, and then currently I'll go up front and play guitars in bands and so forth.
Right.
My own. But whenever I played in most other bands, it was on the drums. It's the drums that sell tickets for me. You want to pay to see me play the drums. You don't want to pay to see me as much play guitars. It's just the way it is, And that's why I always get a badass guitarist when I'm in my own band. I'm not the only guitar player. I write the music.
Yeah.
I get a guy who's really good,
Right. Well, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you realize that here's what it's all about to me. I'm going to sum this up really quick. They don't call it recording musicians. They call it recording artists for a reason. It's all about art. Guys like Neil Young would lose on American Idol or The Voice today. They would lose.
No, I know.
Right? And look at, because what we have forgotten, and some people are getting it back, it's the phonetics. It's connecting with your audience. It's not just how good you are. We talked about this before the show too. It's in your heart, the champion of a heart. If you can connect with people on stage, you could be Mick Jagger with a voice that's monotone and be the best, you know what I mean? And put on a show.
Right.
So people forget that. And so that's a message out there. You don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to be the best. You just got to be entertaining. And if you've got a good story, even better. That's all. Yeah,
we recently did a Neil Young podcast.
Great guy.
I didn't know when I scheduled it they were having this issue with Joe Rogan in that whole thing. I had no idea when I scheduled it that was going on. So I was like, oh no, this is what I need right in the middle of a bunch of controversy.
That's actually could be good.
I know. Yeah, that's right.
One of the times I think it was 1990, I was in a band in St. Louis, and I got the worst review ever about my playing. This guy just trashed me. It was one of the best trashings I ever read. He did a great job. He's a critic. Normally, I was used to always getting written up nicely. This guy just trashed the shit out of me. And the next show was the best show we ever sold, because the people.
Oh, is that right?
Like, that's not true, or that's true. You know, they wanted to go see. And it just goes to show you. Know, I was like, oh my God, I got a show the next day, and the tickets weren't selling well. That trash article came out, we sold out. I was like, yeah, okay. Maybe I should be shitty more often. You know, I had a bad night.
Being a drummer, I got to tell this story. When I was in junior high, the Safaris had the song Wipeout, right?
Yes. I was a Ventures
whenever the teacher wasn't in the room, every guy in the class, and some of the girls too, were all trying to play Wipeout on the desk, right? And so my buddy walks in one day, and I was feeling pretty good about my Wipeout playing. And hey, Danny, check this out. And I start playing it, and he laughs and shakes his head, and he forms his hand like a C and puts it over the edge of the desk and starts playing Wipeout better than I was playing it with two hands. And that ended my drum aspirations.
You know, a lot of people know this. For me, I wanted to play trumpet. I was really into Tijuana Brass. Remember the Tijuana Brass?
Oh, yeah, I love I got three in their album. Yeah.
I saw Herb Albert.
Oh, yeah.
He was wearing these reflector sunglasses, and he's doing this trumpet. I was like, this is the coolest thing I ever saw. I want to be him. I did. I want to be him. He's in his bullfighter outfit.
You know that a lot of his songs got adopted as surf music over time.
Yes, I've heard that too.
Yeah,
like I'm a Ventures fan, so.
Yeah.
The first song I ever learned was Wipeout from a library album.
I was just wondering. That's why I brought it up, you know.
Oh, that's a great song. Yeah, it's a great song. You know, surf metal's coming in LA right now. It's making a run. It's fantastic.
Oh, it is.
Originals too.
Surf metal.
Surf metal.
Oh my God.
Dale, over the top distortion and new original surf music. I walked in. I'm not a big metal fan, you know. But man, I heard the surf beats in metal, and I was all like, "Oh my God, I love this!"
I would love that too. I love surf music. In fact, I had my earlier today. I had my, that's a Blues Deluxe back there, Fender Blues Deluxe. You know, it's a tube amp. It's a tube amp with reverb. I had my reverb up full and was practicing my, Dick Dale, Miserlou, and stuff like that. And I love the sound of that reverb and that surf music. It's fantastic.
It's the indie bands kind of brought it back for a little bit. I use that sound.
Yeah, that's right.
I run my guitar through MIDI, so I'll do horns and stuff on it as well. But I don't do any looping. I'm playing everything. So when I play guitar, I believe you should play it. You know, people want to hear it live. Don't pipe it in. You know?
Right.
It's just
right.
Me.
Right. No, I hear you. Well, I've never even gotten that far. I just plug into an amplifier and mess around, you know.
Oh, I dig it. The big thing that's important for a drummer playing on guitar to me is you realize why you got all those dirty looks as a drummer. You know, like, okay, you're speeding up. I can't get my lyrics in, or you're playing too loud. You're crashing the cymbal over the top of an important lyric. You know, I mean,
hey, one of the funnest things I saw was from the Band of Gypsies, the drummer.
I remember that band.
Them Changes was the album he had out. Buddy Miles.
I think you're. Yeah, but I know.
He played with Jimi Hendrix in the Band of Gypsies. You know.
Really.
And after Hendrix died, I saw him in concert, and I'd never seen the drum set out in front of everybody. And he's up there with the tank top on. He had this huge afro. And it was just one of the funnest concerts I've ever seen, seeing the drum set out in front of guitars are all in the back, you know.
Well, the Ventures were one of the bands that did that. And also,
did they?
You can find a clip on YouTube. People out there, you got to see it. They do Wipeout. And they do one of the first 80s moves where all the guitar players at the same time go like this. Point.
Right.
It's black and white. It's fantastic, and he's on the front stage right. It's fantastic.
Right. Okay. Let's look at a couple of more nightclubs from Sunset.
Back
And
to Sunset.
one of the really popular ones was Ciros, CROS. It was a Sunset. They called it Playpen for Hollywood's rich and famous. Okay, so I gotta get over. I got out of the way of the camera. It opened in 1940. Glitzy nightclub, entertained the likes of Marilyn Monroe, Humphrey Bogart, Sidney Poitier, just to name a few. It's not only famous for featuring some of the 40s and 50s greatest performers, such as Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. Incidentally, Sammy Davis Jr. came to my high school in Henderson, Nevada, and did a concert because he was friends with one of the teachers, and he was performing in Vegas at the time, and that was cool. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. He was good. He was a lot of fun. You know, the Rat Pack, those guys were all great. Anyway, Sammy Davis Jr., but also for hosting frequent champagne throwing, spitting in faces, scandalous brawls in which Hollywood's richest, classiest members of society went at each other.
That's
It
awesome.
says Frank Sinatra was the club's exception to the 3 strikes, you're out rule for fighting.
Yeah, go figure. Go figure.
Who's going to kick out old Blue Eyes? You know, chairman of the board, right?
Frank Sinatra?
Luxurious
somebody, it wouldn't matter.
For an eclectic mix of celebrities, producers, gangsters. Mickey Cohen, we talked about him earlier from Cafe Trocadero. You know, well, Mickey Cohen was shot outside of the Ciros.
You could just say, you know, Mickey was a scrapper because he's at all the scrapper clubs.
Yeah.
He's a scrapper.
Yeah. Congregated with evening gloves and cigarette holders, arguably the zenith of the Hollywood nightlife. After a 17-year run, its closure in 1956 marked a sort of turning point on the Sunset Strip. So that was the Ciros Club.
You know, there's one of the things about Sunset that should be mentioned is, you know, other than the Troubadour and all these big rainbow rooms and so forth, don't forget all these little hotel lounges that are still around, these swanky rooms where that little singer-songwriter in there that's kicking butt. I mean, it's you know, people right now, Nashville's kind of taking that away from us a little bit because LA went backwards with these last 2 years.
Okay.
But it's coming back. The shows are coming back. So watch.
You know, just having this show about the clubs and stuff on Sunset, I told my wife, I said, I want to go down to Sunset and make a travel video, you know, and just walk up and down Sunset Boulevard and go into all the little clubs and just check it all out and make a fun little travel video and talk about these places, you know. I think that would be a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, you can. I try to stay at the Grafton if you can. The Grafton is where I stayed. Called the Grafton. It's right on the Strip, and man, you feel like a rock star there. The rooms are all rock star style, big. Red
no kidding.
It's cool. I in the front of my dash right now. Don't tell them I have one of their. They have little frogs. Little floaty frogs for the bathtub. I've got the Grafton frog.
Now you have it.
I've got it. I don't know who got charged for it, but it wasn't me.
Oh, that's funny.
I've got the Grafton frog. Great. Yeah, that's one of the best places to stay. It's expensive.
Yeah, and I don't know why I never gravitated toward checking that place out when I moved from Southern Nevada. I wound up in North Long Beach. And I remember going to LA a couple of times and saying, I could never live here, you know. I must have wound up in the wrong parts or something.
I was a San Francisco guy, so I kind of felt the same way. I did not see the beauty of LA. I went down there to do battle, and then I got the hell out. I love San Francisco. I was a Bay Area. I like the Bay Area music. I love the scene up there. I was more into that. Yeah. You know, but with that said, I got to say something about Long Beach because you just brought up Long Beach. When we did the Roxy way back when, the guys saw me freaking out. They saw me getting all nervous, so they thought they were going to chill me out and drive over to Long Beach to see this little hole-in-the-wall club to kind of make me feel better, to know that how badass a drummer I was, right? So we walk in. True story. We walk in, only $5, which was even cheap then. We get in. We're playing the next night at the Roxy. We walk in. First thing I see is there's a triangular board over the drum set. And this place is called like the Jackass Ass's Butt, something like that. It's this truth. It's probably close to the name still. Anyways, you remember Asia? Remember the band Asia?
Oh yeah, for sure.
They were put together even with an A, and they had nobody played Asia. You couldn't play Asia, right? It's all studio. The first opening song the band plays, Asia. Just Long Beach.
Oh my God! Did you say you were at the Roxy downtown Long Beach?
No, we were at the Roxy in Sunsets where we played. We played.
Oh, okay, yeah. We had a
went
Roxy.
to Long Beach.
We had a Roxy in
Beach.
downtown Long Beach too, and I'm pretty sure that's where I saw Richie Havens.
Oh, we went to Long Beach to see the crappy bands. And this is what we got. They're playing Asia. The best part, though, middle of the song, the drummer throws a stick down. He throws a stick, whack, it goes up and hits the diagonal board.
Well, I saw the Rolling Stones downtown Long Beach at the Long Beach Arena.
My God.
You know, Stevie Wonder opened for him. It was 1972. It was the Exile on Main Street tour, and Stevie Wonder opened for him. And he got no respect. You know, the lights were left on. People were walking up and down the aisles. It was loud in there. And after 6 or 7 songs, Stevie Wonder says, "You know what? I'm going to let you guys hear the band you came to hear." And he got up and left.
Isn't that something?
It was really sad because I was a big Stevie Wonder fan. And when I did an unboxing of the Rolling Stones, the first thing I did was unbox Stevie Wonder's greatest hits, you know, because of what happened at that show.
And the bands don't come on any earlier because you booed off the opening band. All you did was screw yourself out of some entertainment.
Right.
That's what doesn't make sense.
No. Yeah, so we sat there for an hour waiting. I wanted to say something to Linda Foster. Hey, Linda, you know, Betty and I saw Rod Stewart at the Santa Barbara Bowl, and his foot was broken and in a cast from playing soccer. He broke his foot playing soccer. And that was about, I'm going to say, a year and a half ago. And I just read yesterday where he's coming back to the Santa Barbara Bowl.
Wow.
You know? So, and also it was announced right here in Paso Robles, it was announced yesterday that Skid Row, Warrant, you know, the guy, I can't think of his first name, Winger from the band Winger.
Kip Winger.
Kip Winger. And some other band, they're all coming to the Paso Robles Fairgrounds. I think I want to go see that one. I'm already waiting to see Alice Cooper with Ace Frehley at Vina Robles. I've already got the ticket for that. But anyway.
If Kip is listening, this is for Kip. Kip was in Denver, and he used to ask if he could, this is before he was anybody, right?
Right.
And I was in this big badass band. He would ask to help haul my gear, carry it in. I'm like, sure, you know, I was nice to him. He was kind of nerdy at the time. He was, Kip, you know this to be true if you're listening. He was kind of nerdy at the time. And he always go, one day I'm gonna go to LA and I'm gonna make it. It's gonna go into your Sunset Strip story. We're like, yeah. All of a sudden, Kip vanishes. We're like, where did he go? He's just gone, right? And the MTV's playing in the background. This is a true story. MTV's in the background. All of a sudden, she's only 17. This guy's, wow, turning around. I'm like, Kip, it's Kip. Oh, dang it, he did it. He's got this hair and his eyes are blue now. He's all tan. Like, damn you, Kip.
That's funny as hell.
It's true. Kip Winger. And then he crashed for a while, went back, and he looked nothing like cool Kip. He looked like the original nerd Kip. And all of a sudden, we're like, oh, poor Kip. Next thing I know, Alice Cooper's got his band out. Who's that on bass? There's Kip, and he's all beautiful again. Love you, Kip.
That's funny, man. That's a funny story.
The dude morphs. He morphs, and he gets the... Who did that? He went from nothing. Poof, he's on MTV. We're in rehearsal. We're the greatest band in Denver. Dude just blew us away, you know. Next thing you know, he's touring with Alice Cooper. Watch out, dude. Watch out, that guy carrying your gear is going to kick your ass, people.
Okay, let's do another Sunset Club. Let's talk about the Macombo Club. A retail plaza now sits where it used to be. It was once an invigorated strip club between 41 and 58. It sprawled in Latin American themed decor and caged exotic birds. Macombo was a festive sanctuary for the usual suspects of the Hollywood socialites. Just a few blocks from the legendary Garden of Allah apartment building, which housed many of LA's up and coming. Macombo was the place from which the career of the Queen of Jazz, Ella Fitzgerald took off. got her start. Actor Myrna Loy and producer Arthur Hornblow threw lavish parties to celebrate their divorce. A lavish party there to celebrate their divorce. Well, I'm glad it ended. I'm glad it ended that way.
That's a great idea. Let's go.
Well, and then there was another club, Pandora's Box, and we're talking about some of the older clubs here right now. 50s and 60s, Las Vegas began to replace the Sunset Strip as a capital of glitz and glamour. As a result, the Strip went through a cultural transformation that was met with a much resistance from the older generation. And I've read a lot of stories about this. They were trying to put curfews up and things like that, you know. So much resistance from the older generation. A number of rock and roll joints popped up all over Sunset, and a new breed of energetic hippie types, wild-eyed kids began to roam the Strip. The 60s rock club Pandora's Box was a popular music venue that featured performances by artists such as the Beach Boys, the Byrds, Sonny and Cher.
Sonny and Cher.
Yeah, the club was also the site of the '66 Sunset Strip riots, in which over 1,000 youths, including Jack Nicholson, that's a surprise, participated in a protest against attempts to enforce a 10 p.m. curfew. Can you believe that? A 10 p.m. curfew on the Sunset Strip. Closed those nightclubs known for their youth scene, such as Pandora's Box. The rock club was bulldozed that same year, but lives in many Angelinos' memories. So that was Pandora's Box. And it was a little bit before my time, but not so much the 60s, though. I didn't get to California till 71. I got to California in 71, you know.
Yeah, and, I didn't experience the Strip till the early 80s, way before my time.
Yeah. Do you remember the Sonny and Cher show? Linda just mentioned the Sonny and Cher. She saw them in concert.
I not only remember Sonny and Cher, I remember Flip Wilson, which came on before Sonny and Cher.
Oh,
Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. I love that stuff. I love those shows. And Sonny and Cher, a lot of times, they would always sing, but they always had a musical guest. And music was on every night. Almost all those shows. Even Carol Burnett would have a musical guest.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I used to love the Dean Martin show, too. It was the only show where they could actually drink real liquor. And he was always... he'd have a drink in one hand and a cigarette in one hand. He's laughing all the time.
Fun of it too. Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah. Good.
That was a fun show to watch.
It was entertaining. You know, speaking of bringing the people with you, kind of like podcasts are now. The people are like hanging with us on the couch right now. It's live, and you kind of feel like you're with us. You know, and that's kind of what it was then.
Well, that's what's fun about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's come full circle in a way. You know, we're inviting everyone in to sit with us and have a chat, you know, and kind of listen in. It's like being at a coffee house.
Speaking of inviting everyone in, I just put up the link for the show. There's the word StreamYard in the middle. And if anybody would like to just join us, just click on that link, come backstage, test your mic, bring you right on. Come have fun with us. Jeff, Linda, Gloria, anybody, just, Kate. Anybody want to pop on? Come on, jump on the show. Let's have some fun.
Be brave. Be brave.
I guess, There's the link. There's the link. Kate says Jeff will go on. Well, that's good, Jeff. Come on. So anyway, let's go. Let's move now to a little more modern times. The Whiskey a Go-Go. Everybody knows about the Whiskey. Now, you played at the Whiskey.
I played the Whiskey, yes. I played it in the 90s. I played it again in 2008. More recently.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I played drums both times. One thing I will tell people from that you don't realize from the drummer's perspective that's kind of interesting. It's one of the highest drum risers. I've always played on high drum risers.
Okay.
This drum riser is incredibly high. I'm going to say probably 4 feet at least. Keeping in mind that stage is also a very high stage. It's a very narrow club. It goes up, and it's 3-level club. The drum riser, when you sit on the drum riser, you look directly at the 2nd level. That's how high it is.
Are you kidding?
Yes.
Are you kidding? Okay.
No. I climbed up there, and I'm looking right at the 2nd level. And I can see 3rd level better than down. That's how high you are. You're like, wow.
Oh, wow. That's at the Whiskey?
That's at the Whiskey. Check it
Oh,
out
wow.
next time. You're standing down there. Note how big, how their stage like that big, and then the riser's up here.
Okay.
Way up. And so by the time you climb up, you're looking at second level up there. It's pretty trippy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
The perspective from the drummers, really interesting. And because of that, you kind of have a booming sound.
Well, what was it like playing there?
The big thing for me was just the history. I'm a big Doors fan. And just know Jim Morrison was on.
I'm a big Doors fan too. Yeah.
I think they were the original alternative band. They were so different at the time.
They were so good. Yeah, I love the Doors.
I think we needed them. There, certain bands in time that change things, like Nirvana. I talked about that before the show.
Right.
You need those guys, and they were one of them. The Cars in the '70s, they changed things with that album.
Speaking of the Doors, I'll just bring this up briefly, but there's been rumors forever that people like Jim Morrison, it was pretty outrageous on stage, and Jimi Hendrix,
yes,
and Janis Joplin, anybody that was a big star musically, like in the late '60s, early '70s, was almost considered kind of a leader of the counterculture. And there's always been rumors that those people they didn't all die like we think they died. They were all murdered. Have you heard rumors like that too over the years?
Yes. And even Lennon, Lennon he wrote about it. He was vocal about it, that they were trying to do things to him, and I believe that. Now, did that happen? We don't know.
I know. We'll never know. I'm sure we'll never know. But
there's definitely gosh, look at the last 2 years. A lot of strange things can happen, right? A lot of strange.
No, I know. But I could never get that thought out of my head. I had a guitar instructor one time that was just adamant that every one of them was murdered, by the government at the time, because there was so much divisiveness. There was so much protest going on in the country. I mean, it wasn't just the Vietnam War, which by 1966 had 65% of the country against it. It was the Vietnam War. It was all the racial stuff and Martin Luther King. It was women's rights. It was Latinos' rights with Cesar Chavez. It was Indian rights. It was like every group in the world was having, big marches and protests. It was really something like I've never seen again, in my life. And so there was a lot going on, and the government, I remember feeling like, and so did everybody else, it seemed like, all us long-haired leaping gnomes. It was like there was no Republicans and Democrats. There was the establishment, and there was us. And they hated us, and we hated them back. So in that context, you could almost imagine some of this stuff really happening,
Yeah, well, you're talking to a guy that was on the front line of some of that myself. I mean, I was very vocal these last 2 years about things going on. I'm not going to get into that. That's not what this show is about.
Yeah,
but I will say this. In 2020, there was only one music festival in the entire country. One. It was Sturgis. Wow. I was there.
Oh, no kidding.
I went there. And
I rode my Harley to Sturgis. It was a 3,400-mile round trip. We did it in 5 days of riding, 7 days total. With my wife and I.
Did you go to 2020?
No, I didn't go to 2020. It was 2012, I think.
Well, I bring up 2020 for a reason, because it's a motorcycle rally. However, because of all of the concerts being canceled, Coachella and everything across the United States, it was the only music festival.
Okay. Yeah.
7 stages from 1 to 1, nobody wearing masks, standing together, and it was powerful. And
was that at the Buffalo Chip Campground?
Oh God, it was it's the entire city of Sturgis, the entire.
No, I know. Yeah,
I know you're right.
It's okay.
It was like Woodstock. It was
like
Woodstock, though.
Oh, wow,
the American
cool.
flags. What I liked about it was it reminded you that, just like you brought up, music brings us into war. We used to have the Civil War. We had drummers playing us into the war, into battle. It brought us out of war, 69. It brings you into religion. It brings you into spirituality. They shut music down these last 2 years. That seems kind of strange. So you're talking, bring that home. Could there have been something connected to that?
Well, when you think about what I was talking about with the establishment and us, you also had things like well, let's see, Jen. Okay, there's so many musical talents died, but also the Nixon administration had passed a law making smoking pot the same penalties as heroin. And the only reason they did that because they knew that Jerry Rubins and all the leaders of the counterculture smoked pot. So if they figured if they could make the penalties so harsh, they could arrest them all and lock them all up for years, and until it was all over.
The country as well.
And so all those people got killed in the context of that kind of stuff too. It made it a little bit more believable. But anyway, I don't know. I really can't say that I do believe it.
It is definitely fodder for good chatter. Because it's still going on to this day. I think here's what I'd like to say about that to kind of wrap that part up at least a little bit. I sure wish the musicians would be more vocal like they used to. I really felt like we got quiet. My people got quiet these last 2 years and kind of sat it out. And that's not what we were all about.
Right.
We got scared. You can't get scared. That's part of music is expression and having people follow you. So
that's right. Yeah. Okay, so the Whiskey A Go-Go, a historic music landmark, opened on the strip in 1964, boasted a stage, a dance floors, girls twisting in white boots and fringed mini dresses. Did they have that there when you were there? Did they still have that?
You know what? It's funny you mentioned because in San Diego today, I saw a girl going down the block with white go-go boots. I took a picture.
White fringed mini dresses, dancing in glass cages. And they were known as go-go girls.
I wish they did.
Jim Morrison and the Doors became the house band in '66. The nightclub served as a career catalyst for many other bands and musicians. The Who, Jimi Hendrix, Neil Diamond, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin all played at the Whiskey A Go-Go. The Whiskey stage at one point in their careers. In 2006, the Whiskey A Go-Go was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I didn't know that they would induct a club into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I never heard of that either.
Okay, so that was the Whiskey. You played there, and that was the one with the stage, the band where the band was. Looked across at the second level. Wow.
You're right. And Morrison's, there's epic images of Morrison, and they don't really have a green room. So the one other thing people don't know that haven't played at the Whiskey.
Right.
The Whiskey is known for spitting you out. And here's what I mean by that. When you're done playing the Whiskey, there's no way to go that way because the band is coming in. The next band is coming in from stage right. So you go out stage left. It's down a chute practically, a little stairway.
Really? Wow.
And the door opens up and you're on the street. Right on the
No
corner.
kidding.
I've got a shot. So temporarily, band gear goes, whoop. You end up right on the street. You're just like, poof. So, I'm outside.
I'm going to show a couple of pictures here. I loaded a couple of pictures, and let's see. I've got the. Let's see. Here's the Whiskey right here.
Oh, right on. That's a great shot.
Isn't that a great shot?
That is a great shot. I love the poster that they did there. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, we talked about Ciro's earlier, and it was kind of an old school 50s, 60s. You can see the glamour girls here from Ciro's. And let's see, we talked about Pandora's Box, original location of Pandora's Box.
Is that one still there? Let me move up here.
I'm going to say no, because this is the original location of it. So I'm going to say no, it probably is not still there. Okay, and I've got some other pictures to show as we get a little further into this. So we'll open up the chat back up. Let me get rid of this picture. Well, that was a mistake. Let me get rid of the picture before.
You're stuck. The record's stuck. The record's stuck.
No, we're fine. so anyway, so I want to bring up another club called Gazzari's. And it was a teen dance club called Gazzari's. It electrified the strip from 67 to 93, one of the few sunset launch pads for unsigned rock bands. In the 70s and 80s, Gazzari's gave little-known bands like Metallica,
little known,
Guns N' Roses, Poison a chance to perform on the strip. Owner Bill Gazzari, nicknamed the Godfather of Rock and Roll, I never heard that before. He especially loved Van Halen. and the band played multiple days a week for years. Van
Sounds like
Halen
an
played
Italian
multiple
restaurant.
days a week at Gazzari's
Wow.
before they got their big break. The club oozed with an angsty glam rock confidence that attracted LA's rowdy youth for decades. That's great, you know.
That's an interesting combination. I mean, because both, speaking of Guns N' Roses and Van Halen have similarities on the Sunset Strip, because you both have vocalists that had the PA system. They kind of own the PA. That's partially how they got the band, supposedly. Yeah, wealthy parents bought him the PA, and then hey, you got a PA system? You can sing. You're in. David Lee Roth, you're in. You know?
Right.
That's the rumor. You know how it was, but they were doing big shows back then. Let's face it. They were Van Halen, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue. They brought a stadium show into a club.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
That was what made the Sunset Strip great. That was it. That's what made the Sunset Strip different than anywhere else. You could see big shows, that big giant drum stage, and the whiskey was there for a reason. It looked like you were in a giant theater.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to know, because they're like, well, why wasn't that block in Denver or the one in Seattle like that? Because the bands played like they were in theaters, and it worked.
Right. Okay, well, the next club I want to bring up, and I'm happy to say I've actually been to this one. We went down and watched some kind of a rock opera, Betty and I and some relatives. I can't remember whether it was Let There Be Rock or there was another one circulating around at the time. But when we were done, we went over and had something to eat at the Rainbow Club, where Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio had their first date at the Rainbow. I mean, there's so damn much history there. It's insane,
No
but,
way.
The loft at the Rainbow Club and Grill was notoriously moonlighted as a clubhouse for the famous boys who destroyed hotel rooms. In fact, a plaque still hangs in the Rainbow commemorating the lair of the Hollywood vampires. And it was a social group made up of rock drinking buddies. Alice Cooper was the president.
I know.
The Who's Keith Moon frequented it. Songwriter Harry Nilsson, we were talking about him earlier in London, where I was at the flat where, who was it? Keith Moon and God, what was her name? Mama Cass. Keith Moon and Mama Cass both died at Harry Nilsson's flat. Okay, and so Harry Nilsson would show up. The Monkees. Hey, Caitlin, are you listening? The Monkees, Mickey Dolenz.
Hey, Mickey.
Dolenz used to show up, and he was part of the Hollywood Vampires drinking club. Isn't that great? I know you're a big Monkees and particularly Mickey Dolenz fan. Let's see. And then let's see. Who else did we have there? John Lennon. When he was broke up with Yoko Ono, John Lennon would show up. And honorary members included Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison. And the list goes on. And I know that Jeff Lynne from Electric Light Orchestra was a regular there as well.
Yeah.
Hung out there a lot. Yeah. And anyway, so the Rainbow rarely saw daylight. Hence the guys that hung out upstairs. The upstairs was just theirs. It was their clubhouse, the Hollywood Vampires. They rarely saw daylight, so they were called the Hollywood Vampires.
Nice.
That's where that name comes from. And so anyway, the Glitter Girls of the Rainbow catered to the LA party brats, and pretty much every famous person worth knowing in the mid 70s to early 90s, with its heyday arguably in the past, the Rainbow Bar and Grill now serves as a rock and roll relic. And I was there while it was a rock and roll relic. All that other stuff was gone. But there's a lot of memorabilia and pictures all over the walls, and the history. I mean, the walls are just oozing with history. It's just amazing.
Rainbow.
Yeah.
That and the Troubadour, 2 rooms I wish I could have played. I never had a chance to. A couple close calls, but couldn't get in there.
So I have a couple more pictures to put up, and let's see. I have the Troubadour here. Where's the Troubadour?
Nice.
We didn't look at this one earlier. This was one of the first ones we talked about. Well, no, this is the Troubadour. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That's the Troubadour right there. Good old Troubadour.
A lot bigger inside than that looks to people.
Than it looks. Yeah, that's deceiving. Okay, one of them that we haven't talked about yet. So I guess I'll wait till we get there. Okay, I'll wait till we get there before we talk about that one. So we'll go ahead and talk about talked about the Rainbow. Let's talk about the Roxy on Sunset.
Ah, the Roxy.
The Roxy, yeah. Okay.
17-year-old
Yeah,
calling.
Since 1974, well-known fresh-faced artists, comedians, and actors have graced the Roxy stage. The nightclub first opened by Elmer Valentine and Lou Adler. I wonder if Lou Adler is any relationship to Steven Adler, from the drummer from Guns N' Roses.
No telling. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I know, no telling. Okay. They replaced the Lago Strip Club and became a pioneering sort of music venue that sought to showcase many different genres and acts rather than pandering to a single trend or music scene. The Roxy was never confined or swept up in the glam rock of the 70s or the heavy metal of the 80s. Instead, the Roxy brought Neil Young, the Temptations. So I absolutely love the Temptations. That was one of the highlights of my life. I didn't know the Temptations played anymore, but right here at the Paso Robles Fairground, 2 years in a row, they came with the Four Tops, and they would come out separately, then they'd come out together. And to see the Temptations, I mean, 67, 68, me and my friends, that's all we were listening to was soul music, you know.
Well, so that's that was kind of the Bay Area sound going on, and which the Roxy was featuring, because the Bay Area had Circle Star Theater, Winterland, the Fillmore, and Winterland would have bands like Three Dog Night, Temptations, stuff like that. I don't want to get off track though. Get back to the Roxy.
No. It's okay. What I was saying about the soul music when with the Temptations playing at the Roxy was, there was that period of time between the British invasion, which was kind of at its peak in 64-5, and then 67, 68, we got into soul music. And then all of a sudden I heard, the Cream Disraeli Gears and Creedence Clearwater and lost my mind. And I just completely switched genres again, and then we had the Woodstock and all those great bands that came out of that, and the rest is, history.
But don't forget, around mid-70s, all of a sudden here comes George Benson and Breezin'. I'm like, what is that? Jazz album, right?
No, that's right. Oh yeah, there was a lot of others for sure. But so Neil Young, Temptations, Genesis, the Rocky Horror Picture Show in 1974, Billy Idol, Bob Marley in 1975, and a diversity, just a diversity of talented people. So that was what was going on at the Roxy. The Roxy must have been a chain, because we had one downtown in Long Beach where I saw Richie Havens.
Well, the thing about the Roxy, a lot of people don't know. And the reason I know this is how we got there. Geffen Records, which John Lennon started Geffen. I don't know if you're aware of that. And
no, I'm not.
Yeah, Geffen Records was John Lennon's baby. He got that thing going.
I never heard that before.
And check this out. In the late 70s, one of the first female record producers ever to be put in charge of a record company was Geffen Records. And that was who got us into the Roxy, because we were signed by Geffen at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, full circle. So she liked us. We were a Tucson, Arizona band.
No kidding.
To LA to do battle. We had, we were the best in Arizona. Of course, got our asses kicked in LA. It's like the Guns N' Roses scene. We had the little grass, But yeah. Geffen Records. So Geffen Records labels fed that club.
Really?
Yeah. So that's why, listen to the bands you named off. You don't get those bands without labels. No way.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. You had to be, you didn't just go, hey, I want to play there. No, you were through a label, and the label said, here's who we want to push this week. And that's why you got those bands. And that's why the Roxy was such, a lot of people talk about the whiskey, but the Roxy, that was a marker. You played the Roxy. You were somebody. You were definitely in a name, or they thought you were going to be, one or the other.
Yeah. Well, one club I didn't mention yet was the Cath Club, and there was a period of time there where Slim Jim Phantom, who was in the Stray Cats, a drummer for the Stray Cats, you're probably familiar with that.
Yeah, I love the way he stood up and played.
Well, I got a funny story about that. I don't know if you remember when the Rava Winery was having concerts. And it was a club. It was a club band from the Rainbow Club was coming up there and playing, and Eric Singer might come up and play drums, and Dizzy from Guns N' Roses might come up and play keyboards, and Ryan Roxy was there, and who Eric Dover, what a great guitar player and singer. Eric Dover, he's kind of like, do you know who Eric Dover is? Kind of got like big Jagger type moves. He was in Slash's Snake Pit and Jellyfish and some other bands, and I still see he's still out doing different projects.
Session guitarist.
Yeah, he's really good. But anyway, Slim Jim Phantom always showed up because it was the club that these guys played at. What was his club? The Rainbow, not the Rainbow, but I mean the Cat Club, and it was very, very popular venue. If you go online, look at the Cat Club, you'll see all kinds of people you know from music playing there, and people would just come in just to sit in, just have fun, with the guys, the house bands. And anyway, so what was funny is Slim Jim always showed up at these concerts at Rava Winery, but with Eric Singer there, the drummer from Kiss, and Tommy Clufidis, the drummer from Ozzy, they were always at the drum set. And even Steven Adler would show up.
Nice.
Slim Jim would be over there with one snare drum and a cymbal, while somebody else was sitting at the drum set. And I seen this show after show, and I kind of felt sorry for him. He never got to sit at the drum set. Then one day I came across a video on YouTube of the Stray Cats playing. I go, oh well, hey, let's finally see, Slim Jim hammering a drum set. And I turned the video on, and he was playing a snare drum and a single cymbal.
He was like,
I'm like, what the hell?
I thought it was great though. He kind of brought the trap set all the way back to the front. I mean, it was great. It was different. It was cool. He doing cut time, doing a swing beat on the cymbals. That was fantastic.
But I just thought that was hilarious. So here's a picture of the Cat Club, and another picture here of its owner, Slim Jim Phantom, the Stray Cats, standing there with one drum again. And check this out. I know the chat will love this because we're all fans.
I didn't even know
Check this out. Here's he did. Here's Eric Singer, Kiss's drummer, before he was Kiss's drummer, right here, playing at the Cat Club.
No way. Look at that.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. And here's Ryan Roxy playing at the Cat Club.
Whoa. That's a cool shot too.
Isn't that cool?
That's a great shot.
Yeah, that's a great shot. Yeah, Alice Cooper, one of Alice Cooper's guitar players now.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, let's get the chat back up here. What did you guys think about those pictures? Anyway, I know we're all Eric Singer fans and Ryan Roxy fans and stuff like that, But anyway, I mean, I walked around London a little bit with Eric Singer. They were there for their end of the world tour, which is probably going to last until the world ends. But anyway, so we walked over to the hotel where Kiss was playing, and my relative that I was with got invited up to see Gene Simmons. And plus, he went to the concert that night, and we babysat his kid. It was all good. I'm not complaining. Anyway, so getting back to these clubs, okay? The VIPOR Room. Johnny Depp co-founded the intimate, grungy VIPOR Room nightclub in 1993. Rock and Roll Den has hosted numerous musical greats. However, it's more enshrined in Hollywood history as a location where River Phoenix tragically overdosed on Halloween 1993, and that was a shock to everybody. While Depp envisioned a secluded underground sort of spot, the edgy VIPOR Room attracted many celebrities, saw plenty of scandals unfold within its dim-lit interior. I guess dimly lit, you can do anything you want to do, people using drugs and stuff all the time and whatever. By the 1990s, the Strip's popularity waned as live music moved to the cities like Seattle and Austin. Depp sold his share of the club in 2006, and although it remains popular, efforts to renovate have failed to restore the VIPOR Room to its 90s glory. So it sounds like you might have some VIPOR Room stories.
Well, one thing I just got to mention real quick is he said 1993. Was that the year?
1993, yes, it opened in 1993.
So so the other thing that went on was that you had a lot of bands leaving the area at that time, and then you had bands coming in from Boston. The reason that's an important note, in my opinion, and this is a big historic point for Sunset Strip right here on that particular period, because it was dominating all the way up to that point. It was dominating. It was the place. Then all of a sudden, and I was on a tour bus when this happened, we were all banking that funk rock was next. Chili Peppers, Jane's Addiction was doing great, right?
Yeah. Jane's Addiction, Ritual, Habitual, yeah.
But number one at the time, 1989, 1990, Warrant Cherry Pies. Meet my cherry pie, right? Big Ear still rocking.
Right.
Sunset Strip still rocking. Motley Crue. Then all of a sudden, I'll never forget it. We were all sitting on the bus, and that one song came on, and you could hear a pin drop, and that was "Smells Like Teen Spirit." We're like, oh shit! And it
grunge was taken over.
Within 30 days, Ward's gone.
Yeah.
Is there a band Pearl Jam out of nowhere? Soundgarden, you know.
No, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
And these young people today that, you know, were just getting born then, they don't realize that was one of the biggest shifts in music like that ever happened in our area.
It was just overnight. Even MTV kind of shut down shortly after that.
Yes, yeah. To me, I was thinking, God, this must have been what 69 was like when Hendrix suddenly blew up and all that, you know, the Doors and stuff like that. You went from Buddy Holly and the Crickets every day, and all of a sudden, right? It had to be like that.
And this is funny. Adam D in the chat said the glory days of Escobar cocaine. How funny is that?
Okay, so wait a minute. So I've had the luxury and pleasure of playing in these clubs that you've just mentioned through different decades and touring the U.S. I got to tell you, going from the 80s where the wall-length mirror would drop down and they would do rails and then you go on stage to where now at Westlake Studio, there's not even a smoking section. You got to light a cigarette?
That's a pretty radical shift.
It's, you know, I mean, things have changed. You know, you think you're going to get all wasted and go up and play. There's a 17-year-old waiting to take your spot that can play just as good as you nowadays. So you better keep your shit together.
Right.
It's true.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
There's some bands doing that, but I mean, I was out there when there were bongs and stuff, and the smoke is in the production room. You could barely see. But today, not like that. Yeah.
No.
Especially Westlake, I mean, which is off the strip, West Hollywood. I mean, that's Michael Jackson wing, Randy Jackson. He produced.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's God, spotless place.
Right, cool. Okay, I want to mention now the House of Blues opened on the Sunset Strip in 1994. Became the company's first location this side of the Mississippi. You know, the House of Blues.
I didn't know that.
And the building's iconic water tower that sat on the House of Blues in Sunset. Listen to this story. That tower is reportedly built from scraps of a gin mill that were once near the crossroads where Robert Johnson said to have made his fateful deal with the devil, you know. You know, and for people that maybe haven't heard that story, and probably everybody has, you know, you saw the movie Crossroads, the movie, you know.
Yes.
But the story was, you know, in the 20s, Robert Johnson was just a decent blues player. He'd just go around to the bars and clubs and play blues. And all of a sudden, he disappeared for a couple of years, and people didn't know what happened to him. He was gone for 2 or 3 years. When he came back, he was just a smoking hot, you know, blues player. Like, and the story came from that he went down to the crossroads. He sold his soul to the devil to be a better guitar player. And that's where that whole story comes from about, you know, Robert Johnson.
See, that's a lot. There was a lot of 70s talk about that, you know, back. You remember, I mean, talk Led Zeppelin selling their soul to get right. Ozzy Osbourne, even Eagles Hotel California, big
Hotel California,
right.
Yeah,
like you got LeVay on the back, supposedly hanging over the balcony, the tail of the. I mean,
there's a lot of crazy stuff, you know. Yeah.
I mean, all the backmasking, that's part of the scene. That was part of the scene, I guess, is what to say.
You know, Linda Foster's talking about Dave Grohl's book. Have you read Dave Grohl's book?
No, I have not. I didn't know he had a book. I'm a big fan of Dave Grohl.
She's saying it's really good. Oh, I am too. Yeah, I just bought the Foo Fighters Greatest Hits recently. Of course, I love Nirvana. I absolutely love Nirvana.
Oh gosh, I mean, well, and he's a great. I not only love him for that, but you know, like him, I've come from the back and play up front as well. Hard to get people past my drumming, just like him. You still see him as a drummer. You just brought him up as a drummer, even though he's had all these albums as a guitarist. You know, he'll never outlive that, but that's fine.
Right, right,
you know,
right,
and
right.
I'm the same way. So with that said, he does a lot of things for world record things, by the way, too. People aren't aware of. He also works a lot with kids. Yeah, he's a Canadian, I believe, because he does most of his stuff in Canada. But I'm hopefully going to be doing something with him in the future where he likes to get a bunch of kids playing at the same time. He does records like that. So he brings the other world record drummers together. So hopefully I'll be doing something.
So, okay, your world record, you played for over 5 days straight drumming? Is that what you said earlier?
108.5, yeah, 5 days, 4 nights. The last one, it was, I played for 82 hours straight because I stepped off. The rest of the group brought it to 100 hours. But I stepped off because I broke my wrist on day 2, so I was playing on a broken wrist for.
Oh my God! Can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's still pretty messed up. But yeah, I did a big windmill, and they were doing electronic kits instead of brass cymbals, and it didn't give, but my wrist did, and went whack and went, ah. So I refused to stop because when you see a bunch of Portuguese people wearing your American flag with your name on it, you keep playing. You're like, I'm not going to be the one drummer of all the world steps out of this.
Hey, I got to tell Jeff Davidson, who just made a comment about Stone Temple Pilots, one of my favorites too from that whole era. What a great band! I've been watching some of their videos lately. In fact, this week, great band.
Huge Scott Weiland fan. I feel that Scott. And unfortunately, won't get into the drug thing. I want to stay out of that because I don't want to taint his memory with that. People get into the drugs. The bottom line is this. The guy was the closest thing we had to like a David Bowie crossed with almost like a Steven Tyler frontman, just fantastic to watch.
Well, I got to see him. I got to see him right here at the Paso Robles Fairgrounds. He came up and played with Velvet Revolver. He was singing for him. He'd been kicked out of Stone Temple Pilots, and he sang every song through a megaphone.
Yeah, that was his thing back then. At the time. But it's quite versatile. To really check his versatility, check out on YouTube. You can see Sour Girl. He did that, and he also did an unplugged BBC version of that, just a guitar, and you see the other side of his vocal range and so forth. It's very cool. Right.
No, he's really good. I've watched a whole bunch of his videos and stuff with Stone Temple Pilots. What a talent,
Good stuff. And interesting thing about Stone Temple Pilot, a lot of people, another woman in the game, there was an ATV video game that had come out. And this woman was the one that created it, came up with the idea. These ATVs would spin. It was on the Nintendo. She's the one that hires Stone Temple Pilots music to be on the back of that. And that is what drove their music up. You had all those songs were on that video game. And
no kidding.
Dudes are like, oh my God, what is that? I am. And supposedly that gets credit for launching. So just it goes to show you, good songs, good song. Put it anywhere you can. Right?
Anywhere you want,
it'll work.
Well, the others, I think like the only other one I was going to mention, and if you know some more, feel free. And it was the Comedy Store, and it opened in April '72. Comedian Sammy Shores and Rudy DeLuca. The building was formerly the home of the Club Seville in 1935. Later, Ciro's. We talked about Ciro's earlier, all the way up to 57, popular Hollywood nightclub, owned by William Wilkerson, and then later Ciro's La Disque, a rock and roll venue where the Byrds were discovered in 1964.
Oh, wow.
How great of a band were the Byrds?
Huge.
I mean, that was a great band,
Yeah.
But when the venue opened as the Comedy Store in 1972, it included a 99-seat theater. As a result of a divorce settlement, Sammy Shores and his wife Mitzi Shore began operating the club in '73, and she was able to buy the building in '76. She immediately renovated, expanded the club to include a 450-seat main room. And the amazing thing about the Comedy Club, I'm not going to read all this, but if you look at, in 1979, the stand-up got real popular, and
Yes.
and if you look at the list of the notable alumni that played at the comedy club, I've got like 4 pages here. Roseanne, I'll just read some of the names that pop out. Roseanne Barr, Jim Carrey, Dave Chappelle, Cheech and Chong, Chevy Chase, Andrew Dice Clay. I mean, it's like everybody that did comedy for the last 35. Rodney Dangerfield. Let's see, Howie Mandel.
Good.
I mean,
Don't forget Robin.
The list is
Robin
like insane. Jay Leno, David Letterman.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm skipping. I'm only reading about one out of every 5 or 6. Michael Keaton, Chelsea Handler. I didn't know she. I guess so.
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg, Kathy Griffin. Let's see, Dennis Miller, Eddie Murphy. Oh my God, Richard Pryor, Chris Rock, Joe Rogan of all people. Just talking about him. Bob Saget recently passed away.
Yes.
Pauly Shore.
Back in the night like a weasel.
I already read Pauly Shore off of this list, but look how big just this one list is.
Oh, there's more.
I mean, it's just everybody. Total who's who in comedy played there. Well, that's that pretty much sums up the clubs I was going to talk about. But Michael McVeigh, hey guys, my ears were burning laughing out loud. Hey Michael, how you doing? Meet Lou Mars here. Lou Mars holds a couple of world records for drumming. He played like 5 days and 4 hours straight on the drum.
The first one's been beat now. That and if he's listening out there, Carlos Santos from Portugal. Carlos, if you're watching, you can pipe in. Is it 120 or 140? I think he took it up to 130 or something like that. But that was fairly recent. He's the current record holder. But yes, at one time, I had it at 108.5, and then I did the team record with him. Carlos, right. Stephen Gull from Canada, Kunto from Indonesia, and I don't want to forget Ali from Australia. Those are the top drummers in the world for marathon drumming. Myself, it's on the list.
Wow. Hey, Michael, I just put a link up, the last thing in the chat. Why don't you click on it and pop on and tell us about your project? I think everybody would love to hear about it, and I know Lou would love to hear about it.
Yeah,
I was talking about Michael McVeigh earlier, Blackbird Rain, and they're he's
in the studio.
Huh?
Yeah. Out of the studio.
Yeah, just got out of the studio. And he showed up. I'm really grateful. I appreciate that, Michael. Everybody loves to see you. Anyway, so it'd be fun if you had the time to, or even we're in the right location where you could, just go ahead and pop on. We'll bring you on, and you can tell us what you're doing, and we'll promote your band and your project a little bit. I gave you a shout out earlier. I gave a shout out to you and your band, as well as a bunch of other people. Mikey UPS. I gave a shout out to his new show, Mikey UPS, and same thing with Pat and Jason. I talked about the the Slaughter stuff that they're doing, and Pat's show. And it's like everybody I know, I gave a shout out to at the beginning of the show. I've been doing that.
That's really cool of you to do.
Yeah, well, you know what? Everybody appreciates that kind of stuff. I've been going on other people's shows. Sometimes I just stay in the chat, and other times they invite me on, throw a link out, and I'll jump on. And it's always kind of fun just to interact with different people. So I've been enjoying that. So anyway, Michael says, give me a few minutes, just getting out of the studio. Sure, no problem, buddy. We'll hang out and make sure that we're still here when you get here.
Yeah. My thing is I may have to move because I'm in this spot. I'm in San Diego in a Starbucks parking lot of all things.
Oh my God.
I know. I haven't had time to get to the position where I'm supposed to be. So
I see.
Out of time here shortly.
Oh wow. Yeah, I don't think he'll be long.
Yeah, I'm going to try to wait out. I want to try.
Yeah, I hear you. So Lou, Lou, what do you got? What do you got planned for your future? You got so much talent.
Well, that's nice of you to say. Until the world gets a little more settled, and I mean the U.S., definitely focusing on the book Beat Alive. For the listeners, that's at LouMarsBooks.com.
Okay, good.
I have a new website, lumarsofficial.com. That's going to have links to everything. That's
Gotcha.
got the link to the book site, link to the band stuff. It's going to have a link. I teach music. So I do that on Zoom. That's at musichousecall.com.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But as far as band again, I am, I've been asked a lot to play again. And I had held off because of a lot of the restrictions. Now that that's lightening up, and hopefully the gas comes down. Remember, we got to pay gas to get to all these locations.
Oh God, tell me about it. I got a diesel pickup.
I'm in San Diego. It's over $5 on the average here right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Hopefully we won't look back at this when it's $10 a gallon and go, wow, that was cheap. So, but
yeah, hopefully, yeah.
I'm working on an album right now. It's going to be a vinyl album. I'm working on it out of Monterey. Going to be doing it at Wave Street Studios up there. It's a great recording studio. And one side's it's all new music on one side, and it's not all about the analog thing. It's hard to beat digital quality. CDs pop, skip. I'm not going to get into that. I'm doing it for the fun of it. I want to put a vinyl album out. Okay, everybody relax.
No, hey, we love vinyl. This is a vinyl show, really. I mean,
that's why I figured, it's a collector's item immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
I miss the experience of opening that record and looking at everything, and you meet the band, you slide out the sleeve, and there's all the lyrics,
Right.
And I want to do it one more time, and so
that's cool.
Thing's going to be that. Yeah, so that's kind of my after the book's done thing. Back to the music, and then I'll probably support that with a little tour. It's the little U.S. regional.
Yeah, that'd be
national,
fun.
But right. I'll put call up the boys, get the band back together. Let's do one more round. I feel pretty good. I think I do one more. Got one more.
Have you ever heard of a band called the Big Sur Drums?
No, I haven't.
I was talking about my old guitar instructor, John Bankston, also known as Johnny Pozo, because he played the Pozo Saloon so much. And he was always getting together with interesting groups, and he got together with this group, Big Sur, called the Big Sur Drums, and everybody in that band was a drummer, So there was a bunch of guys. I'm probably a different variety of drums, a bunch of guys playing drums, and then him on the guitar. And we're gonna have Caitlin join us.
Hello. Hi, Lou. How are you?
Oh, we got somebody else. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, there you are. I'm like, where are you? You shrunk. There you are. Hi.
I thought we had the other person going on.
Right.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Just trying to stay warm. How are you?
Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, Royce is a good friend of mine. So.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Caitlin and I are good friends. Mm-hmm. And I'm just putting the link back up again to keep it fresh and at the bottom of the screen for anybody else. And I understand Michael McVeigh might be jumping on shortly, which that would be fun. And I saw Linda say something about Vinny. I invited Vinny Gonzalez to come on tonight too, and I don't know whether she's talking to him. And he said something. Can't wait for Vinny. So for vinyl, I'm sorry.
Vinyl.
I lost it. I lost it in all the hearts, Linda. Can't wait for vinyl. Me either. Sorry about that. No, I sent a lot of you guys a private message about the show, bragging about Lou Mars, and one of the people I sent it to was Vinny Gonzalez. Just so you know, okay.
Right
I've been trying to get Vinny to come on. Vinny Gonzalez. You probably never heard of him, but he's a fan's fan. He not only is a big fan, but he winds up becoming personal friends with people like Robert De Niro, and they have dinners together and stuff because he started out as a fan that wanted to meet him, and he winds up becoming friends with all these people. I mean, he's like really tight with all the members of Kiss and a bunch of other bands and actors, and the more I read about him, the more interesting it is, And it would be fun to have Vinny on and tell stories and stuff.
Great.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. So I've been trying to do that. I've been trying to do that, and maybe eventually, here's these weird people back on again. I gotta.
Yeah, I keep blocking them.
I know I've blocked them for the third time too. We got these.
It's annoying.
Trolls or whatever like to come in and do their thing. They have nothing better to do.
Things.
Adam D's calling them spam bots. I guess that's good as anything, really.
it's like graffiti online, you know. I mean,
Graffiti online,
trash your
yeah.
own place. Come
Pretty
on,
much.
you know.
Oh,
Trash
yeah.
your own place.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, you know, it's an interesting thing to talk about too. Is what people say about you online and stuff when you're out there as a musician, especially the critics. You
Yeah.
know, you got to have a thick skin. I mean, when I
Yeah,
won the
that's
reality
right.
show, I won the reality show. Guy right underneath all the stuff on YouTube, he goes, "My 19-year-old sister can play better than you." I'm like, she should have been in the contest.
Oh, I know. I know. I'll be advertising my show, and there's a bunch of music sites, and
Yeah.
I'll take my advertisement and I'll put it all over all these different places, rock and roll diehards, and all these different places. And every once in a while, somebody will come up and say, "What does that have to do with this?"
Yeah.
It's like, why in the hell are you putting this on here? And I'm.
Some people are just
It's
better
always
at that.
fun. It's always fun to get hit with that. One of the times I put on something and the guy was like, "What does that have to do with this channel?" And I go, "Here's Michael McVeigh,
Okay.
rock vocalist."
Hey,
Michael, how are you?
I
Hey,
what's going on?
have you heard much
Sorry
about
for
what's going
the weird lighting. I'm in a parking lot, so
That's all
on?
right.
Okay.
in a van.
Lou's in a van.
have I heard
I don't
what?
know if you
Down
have
by
you
the
heard
river.
have you heard Lou talk about any of his world records and stuff as a drummer?
Hang on a second.
Okay.
Coming in better.
Hang on. Let me try this again.
Okay, go ahead.
No worries.
Yeah, no, yeah, like I said, of all the stuff, the record stuff and everything, on that kind of thing. On one hand, you're like, "Ooh, I got a world record. I'm one of very few people to do this." But on the other hand, you're also next to the page with the guy with the straws in his mouth. He's got 50 straws in his mouth. So he's like, so that's why I think like the show when I played off, which unfortunately they didn't show all of the drummers because there's like a lot better drummers than what they actually showed in the final piece. They showed a lot of the kids because they were trying to sell the sets to kids. But it was much more the acknowledgement from the professionals of them saying, "Hey, you're good," was more important to me, is my point, than the world records. Because a lot of people are like, "Aren't the world record, isn't that the most important thing you ever done?" No, that's just a weird thing. That was just an oddity. And it was cool because the reason I did it was the first record, we took all the money and we gave it to kids to get instruments. The second record, we gave all the money to children that were displaced from the war in Syria. So we actually got to see these kids and pay for their way out of these war-torn homes.
Oh my God, I had no idea about that.
That is wonderful.
I'm a big advocate for doing things for kids and music because music, I feel, saved my life as a child. And so therefore, whenever I get a chance, everything I've done, all of those things have to do with getting kids instruments and music lessons.
No,
So
that's
what I do.
That's awesome, man.
I like
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, that's where I said earlier, you don't have to be necessarily the best on your instrument, but if you can connect with your audience. And then the second thing I said is you have a story. So you could be like, here I am, and here's your band, and your band's like this to me, but I got a story. So they're going to hire me because they can put me on the radio, they can sell tickets. And that's important for people to remember, is just because if you're getting your butt kicked with somebody that's a little bit more, have a good story, have a cause, and you're back up. And you can get sold. Got to be sellable. He's back.
Yeah.
Michael. Hey, Michael, we'd like to hear about your project,
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Very, very well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Much better.
Yeah. Let me run this down to you real quick. What happened is during the course of COVID, my original band, Tame Fury, we broke up, and just some, BS differences, hey, I wish them well. They got another project going. So in the midst of all that, I had this guitar player reach out to me that I played with a long time ago. And me and this guy always had really great songwriting chemistry. It's like we could sit down and, it was just very, very unique,
Yeah. Yeah.
So he tells me, he says, "Well, hey, man, I saw, on the internet that you guys broke up, what are you doing right now?" And I said, nothing. He goes, you want to get together and jam? I said, sure, man. He says, why don't you come over? You know, I've got a studio, a rehearsal studio. And he goes, no, let's just kick around some ideas. Cause he said the same thing. You know, we've always been good at, you know, collaborating and all that. So,
Yeah.
And he goes, I have a couple of songs written, you know, and I know you're good with, you know, throwing lyrics together. So let's just see what we can come up with. So I said, okay, cool. So I went down there and we did a couple of songs just off the cuff, you know, like we did before. And it was really cool. And he says, well, hey, do you want to come back tomorrow? He goes, I want to introduce you to my drummer. And I said, sure, man. And I didn't know at the time that the drummer, he's actually from a national touring band called Axe. And his name's Scott Meisner. And hi, Scott, if you're going to watch this. Hey, Rick. And, you know, anyway, and Carl, our bass player. But so what happened was he walked in the studio and I looked at him. I go, you look familiar. And he told me, and I, you know, I'm honored that he said this. He goes, man, he goes, I've wanted to work with you. And I go, really? He said, yeah. He goes, I saw you guys when y'all played with the Dead Daisies and, you know, you put on a great show and all this. And I thought, cool, man, you know, I appreciate it. And so I told him, where do I know you from? And so we narrowed it down. He told me that he was from Axe. And I was like, okay. Because I was a fan of those guys and I'd seen them live and actually had bought the last album that he was on. So anyway, so we all got together and this was in, and I want to say November of this past year. And so now we've got about 8 original songs. We've been working on them constantly putting a show together. And we've been approached by a few people to do some shows probably in the next, the first one I know is like in 3 months. And so, but we want to do it right. We want to get everything together, like all the promotional stuff, you know, the video stuff and shirts and all the, you know, stuff that goes with that. And, you know, go out there. And the main thing is, man, we're having fun. And this really feels like a brotherhood with these guys. Like we laugh all the time. And you guys that know me, you know, I'm a big cut up anyway. So that's like right up my alley.
you are.
Yeah.
Funny,
so
you're a funny guy.
Imagine me times 3. I mean, these guys they're nuts, but they're good guys and I love them to death. And, you know, I actually look forward to going to the rehearsals and to the sessions and everything. And it's a lot of fun. And the songs they're heavier than what I had with Tame Fury, but it's still, you know, I think my vocal style has gotten a little more grittier, if that makes any sense. Like we have this one song on our page. If you guys would go to Blackbird Rain on Facebook and give us a like, same with Instagram. But there's a song on there called Butterfly that we did. And that's actually, it's a catchy song. It's melodic and it's, you know, kind of laid back. It's got like a Southern hard rock kind of feel to it. But the songs on the record are going to be much, much harder than that. So I don't want people to listen to that and go, oh, that's sweet, because we got something for your ass. You know what I mean? Yeah, the music's a lot harder. I mean, it's not like metal, but it's just hard rock. It's just good hard rock. And yeah, man, I'm psyched about it because you know, music's in my blood. I've been doing it since I was a kid. You know, that's all I know. And so, you know, to be able to get out and do this again after all the crap with COVID and everything is just, you know, it's kind of refreshing. So I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, how have you guys been? I haven't seen y'all in forever.
I got to be honest with you. We're all looking forward to it. I talk about it all the time. I give you shout outs on the shows and stuff like that. You talk about,
oh, cool, man. Cool.
Rain and, you know, and Linda Foster in the chat just said, you're a great guest and a nice guy. Anyway, so
nice.
Only on Sundays, Linda. Only on Sundays.
Oh.
You know, I'd like to hear what people think. You know, I was on Saturday, and I thought with COVID being lifted and everybody going back to the clubs, you know, the people that were all stuck at home and watching podcasts, everybody going back to their clubs and hanging out with their friends and having a drink, that Friday and Saturday might not be good, you know. So I moved it to Sunday, but I'm not sure it really mattered, to be honest with you. I'm still trying to. I'm just going to hang with Sunday for a while. Maybe I was on a little too late at 7 because people on the East Coast, that's 10 o'clock for them. You know, that
I think Sunday's a good day, Royce. I mean, because like, you know, it's the end of the technically end of the weekend.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You know.
Yeah, it's a laid back day for most people. So I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But
so Michael, I've been to your website and I've you know, watched you perform and sing and stuff. You're great. And then I also saw a big list of all the bands you opened for. Now I can't remember. It's been a while since I've been there. But I mean, why don't you just tell us some of the people that your band had opened for and stuff?
Wow, man. we were extremely blessed in our 6-year run, 7 years, give or take. We played over 200 national shows with just about anybody you can think of. And me personally, you guys all know I'm a huge Kiss fan. So we played with Ace Frehley 5 times, which was a dream come true. Some of my other favorites, we played with Rob and Xander from Cheap Trick. Night Ranger, we got to play with Night Ranger. We played with Skid Row, Buck Cherry, Loudness, Dawkins, Striper. Man, it's just, on and on. But
I've got albums almost everybody you mentioned.
Yeah. And it's funny, man, like my thing, because I'm a big, like I'm always going to be a rock fan, a collector, and I'm that guy. I'll hound you for an autograph. I don't give a fuck. Because the way I look at it, you made the record. If you don't want me to sign it, don't fucking put the record out. Okay. But, I've never understood why people over time get to be assholes. I don't understand that, man. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, be grateful for the people that are there for you still.
Fans,
it's like, okay, that's part of the gig. If you don't like signing autographs and all that, yes, I understand there's a time and a place for it. I totally get that. But if you're accessible and you're right there and there's nobody around and somebody says, hey man, would you sign this? Instead of being a dick and acting like you're put out by it, you don't have to say nothing. Just nod and sign it and be done. You know what I mean? Because that person may be waiting all years to meet you. And then they meet you and you're a total jerk to them. That just ruins everything. So I've never understood that. But, there's that kind for everybody.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
But anyway, so what I was alluding to with that is like when we play these shows, we would get these show posters made up with our logo and the headliner and all that. And I would always like to get them signed, during sound check and stuff like that, because I look at like, man, that's a proud moment for me because we got to share the stage, with and all that.
No, that's all part of the fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to top on what Michael talked about earlier that I think is important. He was talking about how he was looking forward to going to play with his band. And I think we forget a lot of times when you get to a certain level of playing, you forget that it's supposed to be fun. You forget why you originally did it, And to me, it's no different than a marriage. If, people say, well, you got to work on love. And I'm thinking, you know what? If it's love, you don't got to work that hard.
That's right.
There's nothing to me more intense or amazing than when all 4 band members or 3 or how many it is on a live show, hitting all the cylinders at the same time. And you guys are just all hitting it. And you look over, you got that little smile because it's like some NBA guy just throwing the ball up and he hits his 3-pointer over and over. You're all just hitting it. There's nothing like that in the world. It's an amazing feel. Oh no, we lost Michael.
I know he's in his car on his phone, so we're He'll be back. Yeah, he'll
be back. It's all right.
He'll be back.
It's such a huge thing. It'll be back. I've been in those bands where you're like, oh shit, I gotta go to rehearsal. It's not a good thing.
Right?
No.
I feel like you're punching in, No, and I also think that anybody's out there playing in bands, you should know if your band hasn't done something in 1 year. Now, if you're trying to go above beyond a hobby, if your band hasn't done something in a year, you need to relook at that band and look at that format because, the bands I've been in that just launched or took off, and there were different ones throughout the years. It just happened. They were that good. People wanted to hire us. They seek you out, It's kind of like a Van Halen or a Guns N' Roses. I guarantee.
Yeah.
They got hired over and over again after being seen just a few times. So if you're not getting that, something's not right. You just got to face that music that it's not together. It's not put together right now. So that's just food for thought out there. Yeah, you get these guys, I'm playing 10 years and we don't know why we haven't done anything.
Right.
Yeah, it ain't happening, man. It's not going to happen. So fix it. Yeah, I usually know within 30 days whether the band's worth a shit or not. In a year or not, that it should have been launched. So I'll sum it up with that. Help out the guys out there starting out. I know this to be true. If I could call young me, I would tell me just that right there, right now. Hello.
Right.
Get out of that band. They're wasting your time.
Right. Yeah, Michael's struggling. Device not connected. He's a
Oh,
bad Wi-Fi spot. He might be moving
yeah.
around a little bit or something.
Okay.
But I have confidence that Michael will rise again here.
Oh, absolutely, he will. No
And
doubt.
I'm going to have to probably excuse myself shortly because I'm going to need to get to my location instead of the middle of
That's
nowhere parking lot.
that's what you were saying. Yeah. No, I understand.
Not the place I'm supposed to be. I'm just getting a coffee. Thought I'd get in there for half hour, an hour.
Van life. I see a lot. I see a lot about van life. It's pretty interesting, really.
It's very interesting because and there's a big difference between and I have this on my sites about homeless and van lifers are not the same thing. We take vans, we create them to travel. A homeless person has a vehicle with all their stuff in it and it's parked. It's not the same thing.
No.
In fact, van life is very similar to when I toured when I was in my teens. We all got in these old vans and vehicles or old school buses. We went cross country. It's very reminiscent of that.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
I changed that. Oh, I love that. That was, I didn't know it at the time that was one of the greatest times of my life. I'm sitting in literally an old school bus with 20-year-olds. I was 19. We went across the U.S. It's good stuff.
Right.
And
good stuff
I
for
think
sure.
There's a Corona commercial. Remember? Oh no, not the Corona. Remember the credit card commercials where they go, they do the prices. This is 500. That is 1,000. And this is priceless. They show a kid with a guitar case walking up to a bus the whole time as you're seeing price for textbooks of college, price for college education. They show the kids going into college and they show him instead getting on the school bus. And they go, touring with a band, skipping college, priceless.
I think I have seen that.
It's a true ad. It's a real ad. Kids, I'm not saying skip college.
No. Yeah, no, I'm going through that. I'm going through that with my grandson right now. He's taking singing lessons, and he wanted to quit high school and be a musician. And it's like no.
I went back later on, and I did go to college. But yeah, if you're in a good band though, and they're hitting it, sure, take off, come back, and get it done though. But yeah, it's hard to get the timing on it. Certain bands are only good at certain moments for so long. So jump on it. You get a 3-year lifespan normally. 3 years. That's average. It's
yeah, well,
I was going to wait for Michael before I exited if I could.
Yeah. I'm hoping, I'm hoping he gets back on. I think he's looking for a spot where he can connect, Come on, Michael. So Lou, you're not parked in a very good spot yourself right now, huh?
No, I'm in the areas that I'm at, real estate is very, very, there's very little of it. And so they're very tight on where you are at, parked anywhere around here, and all the parking costs money. So I'm actually, I didn't get a room tonight or a space because I'm planning on heading out. So I know I'm in beyond my comfortable zone of being, they're letting me slide, but I can tell they're kind of like, it's time to go. So I'm going to be signing off just to not cause problems. That's part of van lifing. No one will fold them. I hear you. Carlsbad, and then
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's worked out really well. I mean, I don't know what your connection is or whatever, but it's worked out really well.
I had to do, because of the positive thing from COVID, there were some positive things for people. And mine was teaching students via Zoom instead of showing up in person.
Okay.
That turned a whole new system to where I could travel. So now when I do travel again, I can still maintain my teaching. And I also have the freedom to go like, okay, I want to go up and record over there instead of San Luis. And I do. So now I travel around, and when I'm, doing interviews for the book or stuff like that, or I'm trying to sell the screenplay to Warner Brothers, I can just take off and make it happen. So big difference.
That's interesting that you mentioned screenplay. I mentioned to you that we had a couple of shows ago about songs that were inspired by war. And a friend of mine wrote this book, Mayhem 337, and he was embedded with Afghanis training Afghanis, and he was also a sniper and did 2 tours of duty over there. And he wrote this book, and they're making a screenplay out of it right now, and they're going to start circulating it around Hollywood to try to make a movie.
That's awesome.
And it's a great book, really, really down to earth. But I mean, we are talking war, and he signed it. He signed it for me and stuff,
Oh, right on.
Wrote a little note to me and stuff, And Chad Ricard, yeah, I mean, he's a real soldier. I mean, he got wounded several times and everything,
Wow. Well,
so anyway, they're doing a screenplay on that book right now.
I've got a crazy pitch.
Maybe it'll be like the next Platoon or something,
Well, I'm trying to, with mine, where I'm trying to do a kind of a weird curve with it, is I've played all these Fox theaters and Ogden Theater and the Senator. I've done all of those.
Okay.
And what they all have in common, or most of them, speaking of venues, to bring this back to our original theme, a lot of these old theaters have stages in the front of them, of the screen.
No, that's right. Yeah.
So my book's all about music, and throughout the whole book, there's music, some of it written by me, some by others. And I'm pitching that. What if you took Rocky Horror or silent movies to a whole new level, and there was a live band on the stage, and the movie played behind them?
Right.
So you're getting a movie and a band experience at the same time. The story in the band.
Yeah. You know what that reminds me of a little bit is we saw Elton John's $1 Million Piano at the Forum in Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace.
Nice.
Massive screen behind you that had a scene that matched whatever the song was. The reason they call it the $1 Million Piano is the band that runs around the outside of the piano also had that same moving scene on it, And it was a great concert, great little venue, but it reminds me of what you're talking about. But you're right. I've been to those theaters, the Arlington Theater and some of the old, there's an old theater in San Luis Obispo, and they all have like a screen up there and a stage and a screen behind it. Yeah.
Perfect.
And they're beautiful old theaters too, just classic.
I want to bring back when I was a kid, I was in the Philippines, and the theaters were huge. They had chandeliers. They had that in America too. And when you went to the theater, the movies were long, and there was even an intermission. You went out and you walked out, stretched for a bit, and you went back, and there were balconies, remember? Well, these theaters are just like that still. So if we get a band in these theaters with the movie going on in the background like that, I think it'd be absolutely amazing.
Real quick, I got to interject. Linda Foster's leaving, and she says, "Thank you for a great show tonight, Lou. You are a great guest. Hope to see you again. Everyone, take care. Got to go,
Linda. I got to go too, Linda. Starbucks is going to be pissed at me. My name is Lou, not Luke. For those of you who were here earlier.
Yeah. Oh, hey, here's Michael. Michael's
tag teaming me in. I'm tagged. I gotta go.
All right.
Michael, take over for me. And let these guys know why it's so important that the band actually likes each other.
Hey man, we'll talk again.
Yes, please. Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Love you all.
Okay, Lou. Look forward to having you on again soon.
Definitely come back.
And I'm going to send you guys a free link to the VIP back room to the book so you can check it out.
Okay, cool.
I will.
Right on.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. All right.
I'll try this again if I drop off again. It's the area I'm in. I'm literally out in the middle of nowhere. So.
Okay. No worries.
Gotcha.
No worries.
But I will say this: if it drops off again, Royce, we will schedule something and I'll
we'll schedule something.
Laptop and everything the right way,
All right. Cool.
Yeah, for sure. I just want you to know that song that you circulated. I absolutely love that song. I listened to it again 2 days ago, and I'm like, man,
thank you,
Michael. You're very talented, very great voice, and that's.
I really appreciate that.
That's such a high quality song. Honest to God, I was listening and I was saying, what's any better than this? I mean, it's just great.
Right.
No.
Well, but I really appreciate that.
I haven't been that impressed in a long time, to be honest with you.
I know. Well, I appreciate it. Hey, if this is any indication of what the record's going to sound like, one of my friends she's very, very critical she's like my sister, but she came to the studio one night to listen to us, and it's really made me feel good because she doesn't, she'll tell me the truth. And she told me, she said, I'm very impressed. I was like, wow. I mean, I go, really? She's like, yeah. That made me feel good. Because, anytime you start a new project, you're kind of nervous about, well, how's it going to go over? You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Good stuff. I'm happy. I'm ready to start playing again, man. I missed it.
We're all happy. We're all happy for you. We're all looking forward to hearing the album. Probably, I don't know if it'll be a CD or an album or whatever, but I refer to everything as.
We're gonna do both. We're actually gonna put a vinyl out. We're gonna do a CD first, obviously, but then the vinyl will. Because come on, man, we're all vinyl guys. We got to put vinyl out.
I know. And we'll probably want to see a couple of autographed copies come through.
Yeah, autograph. Yes.
I think I could arrange that.
That'd be great.
Awesome. Yeah,
I
exactly.
really tell you, Michael, that I really like the instrumentation on that track. It's just
thank you.
That type of music. It's so hard to come by these days to find music like that. It's like the first. I'm not making it. I'm telling you the truth. I don't lie at all. Well,
I appreciate that. I really do.
Hey, anytime. I'm a music dork. We all. I love all kinds of music.
I think we all are.
That track.
Yeah.
Right by the
Guilty.
What you guys have going on? It's gonna be awesome. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm excited. And everybody gets along great. That's the main thing. And we, the main thing is we just enjoy doing it. Bottom line. I think that's why everybody plays music, but
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's good.
Good.
Yeah, Royce, I'm sorry about your dog. I saw that a while back. I just want to tell you that.
Oh yeah. I tell you what, I've lost, we've all lost dogs in our life. I've had dogs forever, but that one just affected me like none before it. And I've had some dogs I was really close to, but losing Frankie so young. Yeah.
Yeah, your pets become family. People don't get that sometimes. They think,
and these little dogs, I mean, when you're in the house, they're on your lap. Sometimes they're fighting for your lap, and then when you're in bed, they're in your bed,
Yeah.
And, so, you can't always do that with a real big dog, because it just isn't room, because we actually have, with my daughter's dog, we have 5 dogs here at the house. But anyway, I don't want to dwell on that. I just want to thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. He was a good boy.
Yeah. Yeah, man, they like I said, they become family, so it's tough, And,
well, I call there are 3 dogs, I'm taking care of. And I call them my children. I mean, bottom line, that's what they are. If they roughhouse children, behave.
I know. They've
ever taken them in the corner?
There are kids now too.
Yeah. Hey, I was gonna tell you, man, I picked up this guitar. I'm sending you a photo of it because I know you're a guitar guy.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of funny because I went to my storage facility, and it's kind of funny because sometimes you wonder how the hell do you forget you have certain things, right? So I was over there, and I was literally going through boxes and boxes, and then behind my pinball machine there was guitar cases, and I was like, oh, so I'm pulling them out. And I pull out this guitar, and it's a freaking Gibson. What was it? It's a Junior, Les Paul Junior. And I was like, how did I forget I had this? Right?
Yeah.
I absolutely fell in love with that guitar all over again, man. And I've been digging the shit out of it. And
nice. Well, let me ask you: is that I saw your rack of guitars, in front of your vinyl? Is that? Yeah. Was that? I thought I saw that guitar you're talking about there.
Yeah, it's a yellow one. It was the second. Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
TV yellow or something. Yeah.
And what's funny, man, is because like I grew up playing guitar, and I didn't really start singing until I was like, I don't know, 20, maybe a little more. But that came by default because we were putting a band together and didn't have a singer. And Justin, who was our drummer at the time, he's like, well, why don't you sing? I'm like, I ain't gonna sing. He's like, come on, man, your voice is pretty decent. I'm like, no. So they talked me into it. So anyway, long story short, now in this band, Rick, our guitar player, he's like, do you want to play on a couple of songs? I'm like, sure, you know, because I never considered myself a guitarist, you know what I'm saying? Because everyone I played with was so awesome. It's like I didn't want to touch a guitar. But there's certain songs that, you know, it can use a rhythm, you know. So that's basically what I'm going to do on a couple songs. And so I've been the last couple months, man, just really getting at it with my guitars, and
good.
It's like a newfound love again, you know. Like I forget how much I love playing guitar.
Right.
So yeah, so that's why I've been pulling my guitars out of the storage and everything. And it's kind of funny. I've got 19 guitars now.
Wow.
Yeah. At one time I had about almost 40. So
no, I've never had anything like that. I mean, I did have the 78 Gibson Les Paul Custom, you know, that I wish I still had, you know, gold hardware, three pickups, gold hardware, pretty rare, you know, 78. And then I bought, when they first came out, they called them the Gibson Robot. It was that blue one that tuned itself, you know.
You know what's funny, Royce? Those guitars were beautiful, but I didn't like that feature on it. And I found one time, and I took the mechanism off the back of the headstock. The bad thing is because now you see the screw holes, you know. Right. But that guitar is so beautiful. It was they call it a seafoam green. Have you ever seen that? Oh my God! I'm gonna send you a picture of it. It's a seafoam green, and it has a triple flame maple top. It's just absolutely beautiful.
Well, the one I bought was the original issue of them, and they sold out 4,000. I think they made. They sold out in one weekend, and now they were reselling them on eBay. You know, and and that's where I got mine. I had to bid on it on eBay, and of course, shortly after that, we had a recession. Prices kind of tanked. You know. Yeah. But anyway, I had a couple of nice Gibson Les Pauls and some other thing. I had several Stratocasters and then just some, you know, quirkier stuff. You know, I mean, hollow bodies with pickups and different things. You know. Yeah,
I've got an Epiphone ES 339. It's almost like a 335, but it's a smaller body, but it's still all. Yeah. Exactly. Oh my God, that guitar is beautiful. It plays phenomenal. It really does.
That's awesome. I always wanted one of those.
I like the sound of it.
Yeah, I always wanted one of those BB King. What do they call that guitar?
It's a Lucille.
Lucille. Yeah. I think it's Lucille down the you know, the fretboard too or something. But
did I ever show you mine? I actually have one signed by BB King. I took my son. We went to go to the House of Blues to see BB, and he it was like almost 2 months before he died. And I met his son, Riley, and he said, what you got in the case? Because we were standing out by the bus on the sidewalk there during the day. Right. And I showed him what I had, and he goes, and I didn't know it was BB's son at the time. I was just talking to this guy, right? And so I looked at his laminates. He had his tour laminates on, and I said, so are you working the tour, right? Or, I mean, what do you do on the tour? He goes, I just help out. And I said, okay. So then he tells me, he goes, you know, this is your son? I go, yeah. And he goes, y'all been out here a while? I said, yeah. I said, I'm pretty sure BB doesn't do his own sound checks, but just in case, you know. He goes, well, I'll tell you what. He goes, I'll see what I can do about helping you get that guitar signed. I said, oh, man, I would appreciate that. And I said, what's your name, by the way? He said, Riley. I said, Riley. I said, Michael. And he says, yeah, Riley King. I go, like, are you related to BB? He said, well, that's what Mama says. I said, wow. So he kept his word, and after the show, he kept his word. So after the show, he motioned, you know, there's a lot of cops out there and stuff. And anyway, excuse me. He brought me and my son up on the bus, and BB signed my guitar. And it's such a cool moment to share that with my son, you know, because because like I said, he passed away maybe 2 months after that, maybe something like that. And so that guitar, I don't really play it. It's just now one of those things you just hang on to, you know? Yeah. And so, but
I've seen BB King. I saw him down at the Chumash Casino, which is about 90 miles away, little Indian casino. I say little, nice. It's actually a big Indian casino. It's a very nice place.
Oh, okay.
But, so BB King was there. I've seen a lot of people there. And it was just announced that of course, I got my tickets for Alice Cooper and Ace Frehley now at a winery here, and
very cool.
That's in April 23rd, I think. And then it was just announced that you know, Skid Row and Warrant and Kip Winger and some other band. I can't remember the name of it, but they're all going to be playing at the Paso Robles Fairgrounds, you know, and I'm going to get tickets for that too. And I guess that's a small venue. The tickets are between $20 and $50. And it's all down on the floor, not the grandstands, you know, standing only, you know, and that's different, but that's okay. That's what it turns out to be anyway. You know, especially if you're down on the floor in a seat, everybody stands, and half of them stand on their seats. You know, it gets a little hard to see.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great lineup, man. That'll be good for sure. You know?
Yeah, that'll be. They just announced that the tickets go on sale next. I think it's next Friday. The tickets go on sale for that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a show coming up. I can't say it yet. I can't say it yet because we're waiting on the the official to do what all crap that goes with it. But once we do, but here's where I'm going with this. We talked about it, and because it's going to be in the Houston area, so we're actually going to go live that night on social media. So whoever wants to tune in and watch can watch, and you know, you can put your bad comments below and all that. But
no, wait. When is this going to be again? You got it.
The tentative date is May 13th.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Friday.
Okay.
I just can't say who it's with yet, which is kind of dumb, but I get it. I mean, I get it. But
no, it's fine. I get it too.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time for sure. You know, and then we have something coming up about a month or so after that too. That it's still in negotiation kind of thing, but yeah. I mean, look, man, it's good just to know that we have some shows, you know, being booked. So that's the main thing. Like I said, you know, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep talking about myself with the band, but it's just kind of I'm hyped up right now. It's kind of exciting, and you know, it's always like when you start something new, it is different. So, and I'd like you guys to all be a part of it and, you know, come along for the ride, and, you know, cause we're like family, man. You know, we've known each other, a couple years now doing this stuff, and so,
no, that's great. Yeah, and that's how I feel too, you know, but it's like, it really is like a family, you know, here.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking forward to all that, you know, and looking forward to help promote it. I mean, to the extent that I can, and get it out there, you know.
Well, and I appreciate that, man. I really do. That means a lot.
Yeah, sure. I'm excited about it, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm hyped for you. You know, I'm excited.
Oh, I know.
What you guys are going to do. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Something popped up and blocked half my chat. Okay.
I don't know. Those spam bots are.
I can't. For some reason, I can't see the chat. But what did it say?
No, Denise Kennedy was just saying that I'll be able to see her newest guitar player. She's a fan of Nita Strauss.
Oh, cool. Yeah, she's good. She's really good. Yeah. She played here maybe 6 months ago, if that. She played over here. I know she's on tour because I've seen other people going to her shows and posting about it. So yeah, she's talented for sure. Right. Really talented.
Well, this was a fun show tonight. It was an extra nice surprise to see you be able to pop in, Michael, at the end here.
Well, I appreciate the invite. I do.
Yeah, no. Yeah, anytime, you know.
But we're going back tomorrow, Tuesday, and Thursday to finish vocal tracks. So maybe I'll get crazy and go live or something. I don't know.
That would be cool. So the vocal tracks now, is this on the last song, or is there still songs to go?
No, these are for the songs that we're still recording right now. So we've got 4 more that we're doing. I think our goal is we were gonna do a full album, but then we thought, let's just do an EP right now. For people who don't know what EPs are, there's just like a mini album, like 4 to 6 songs usually. So and that's just to test the water, so to speak, kind of a thing, because
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's also like a time crunch thing, just to get something out there, you know, because look at it, I've been sitting idle for so long that to the people that did, you know, like follow me and stuff like that musically, I don't want them to forget. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, the time's just clicking by. You know, you want to get something out there.
Sure.
And what you're going to get out there is going to be good too.
Yeah. And I talk to Pat and Mikey all the time. Just let you guys know. Me and Pat talk daily, you know, and
Yeah.
love him. He's become a really good friend to me, and he's a good dude, you know. And
Yeah, he is a
and
good
so is Jason Herndon, and you know, and of course Mikey. Mikey's in there.
I like Jason. We interacted a little bit on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He really is a good dude.
Hey, Michael,
And Mikey's Mikey.
Oh, sorry. Are you still doing the Kiss auctions? Like participating in those?
I participate in the aspect that I buy off of them, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I watch them all the time, of course. But I've gotten to where I'm real select now with what I get, because
Gotcha.
my main era of collecting is with the original band, and nothing against the other guy. I love Kiss. That's my favorite band. So regardless of the lineup and anything, I support it. I'm a big fan of it. I don't knock anybody, because the way I look at it, we're blessed to have the band still going. So you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But as far as collectibles, I keep up with all eras of vinyl and all tour items like tour books and stuff like that.
Right.
But as far as the merchandise, I limited it just to the 70s era stuff, you know, because there's just so much stuff out there.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got I think 5 Kiss albums now, and before I met you guys, I didn't have any.
That's cool.
Right.
I just hit over 900 Kiss albums.
I'm not there yet.
About 900.
Not there yet.
No.
One day we'll do a flip. We'll go through the whole, you know, one by one, flip through the racks, and I'll just show them to you.
That'll be wild. Yeah, I think that'd be a cool thing to do.
I'll be honest with you, Royce. It's kind of stressful having that many Kiss records, because I think, well, what if we have a hurricane again? Oh my God, I got to take all these fucking records with me, you know, and it's. And then I get to like, do I have this one?
You know, we don't have her.
It's
California, but I'll tell you what, I've got pictures of me, full page article in the Trocadero News on my roof with a garden hose. We had massive fire up here, you know, and I tell you, I set my wife down the hill with the kids, and the smoke got so thick she had to stop because it'd come up the backside, and I tell you, I thought maybe my house was going to burn down. You know, there was walls of fire. Wall of fire would get closer. They'd be dropping stuff on it. It'd recede, and then a wall of fire would come from this direction, and you know, then they'd fight it back, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I'd even be able to get out, but I just stood up there with my water hosing my roof off and stuff through the whole thing, you know. And then we had another similar fire a few years later. And a friend of mine brought this big long horse trailer up here and said, "Come on, let's load your house." I'm like, okay, you know, and we started just, you know, loading everything out there. And then of course the fire never got this close either, but half our house was in the horse trailer. But now that when I moved up, there wasn't very many houses around me. Everybody's on acreage, you know, and it used to be a cattle ranch that got split up into, you know, small acreage lots, and everybody built their custom homes on it. And and so what happens is, when I moved up here, I was kind of like at the last of the last not the last subdivision, but the last of that subdivision. And so
I thought you were going to say Mohicans.
Last of Mohicans, yeah. But anyway, so now that there's a lot of people living up here, everybody has to keep the grass cut down and stuff like that, or the fire department will do it for you and bill you. But anyway, so I feel a lot safer up here now, you know.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good deal. Well, man, I hate to cut you guys loose, but
honestly, we stayed longer just for you, but I'm ready to
appreciate that. Really do.
I'm ready to
still got a little bit of a drive to go.
I just want to thank you, and you know, thank you, Kate. And I want to thank everybody in the chat. We really appreciate you guys being here. You make the show. I mean, we love you. So, all right,
everybody. I can't see your chat, but if you said hi to me, I'm saying hi back. So
okay, we'll close the broadcast now. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Hi, Levi Joe. Good night, Levi Joe. Thanks for coming.
Oh, Levi's there.
Levi Joe, a different Levi, I guess.
A different Levi. Okay. Well, hey, Levi.
But I have been busy with a new job. Okay. Well, we appreciate that. I've been busily unemployed lately. I've got a bunch of stuff coming up. But thank you, Levi. We appreciate it. Jeff, thank you. Denise, everybody that's come. Thank you very much. Good night.
Very cool.